It's really hard to remember a time when it was hard to see what something or someone looked like. If you were, say, reading about the city of Bucharest, perhaps the writer provided lush details about the architecture, the people, the shapes, the smells, and you were transported there. It's all in your head in a rich way, but not a specific way. If you wanted to see back in the olden times what Bucharest actually looked like before Google, you'd have to go to a library. Perhaps if you owned a set of encyclopedias, there would be a photo in there, perhaps. And listen, I think there's a lot of value in not having every single bit of information at our fingertips at all times. The feeling of Bucharest presented by a novelist in many ways is more informative than any photo could ever be. Or in the case of people, if you read about, say, John F. Kennedy's striking good looks, but you didn't see a picture of him, you'd build your own idea of what kind of handsome he really was. Seeing a photo might only shatter your perception. I really struggle to remember those days because I've been using search engines since like 1996. So I have to go back to childhood when I would spend so much time in libraries just looking for books that had pictures in them. I wanted to know what things actually looked like. Like, oh shit, that's what a porcupine is? I've only ever seen one in cartoons. Damn, Genghis Khan looks badass. Things like that. And it didn't even have to be about pictures. There was no Wikipedia either. You wanted to know something about anything in history or definitions of whatever, you had to get your ass down to a place with a shitload of books and know which ones would have what you were looking for. Cars, trains, ships, and planes shrunk our world, but the internet really put it in the palm of our hands. I bring all of this up because in 1980, when Dario Argento's Inferno came out, I was only 5, but even if I was 35 at the time, there's a good chance that I too would have had zero idea what a lunar eclipse looked like. Does it look like a solar eclipse, but just with the moon? I mean, sure. Why not? Let's go with that. How else would I look it up? It's 1980. Google is just goggle misspelled. Yahoo? Did the Cowboys win? Ask Jeeves. What am I, rich? No, this lunar eclipse looks perfect. How could it look any different at all? Hi, Cecil.
Hi, Jeffrey.
As a kid, what was your favorite part of the library?
Favorite part of the library?
Like, where did you, like, if you had like library day at school or whatever,
Yeah,
like, where did you run to? Like, what was your,
I feel like it would have been, this sounds a little on the nose for having an online horror podcast, but it would be folklore and horror section.
mm-hmm.
I love me some mythology and spooky stories.
I love that. I definitely went to the humor section. Definitely
Oh,
wanted to go
humor was
read
good. Yeah,
Dave Barry and whoever else. Like, I don't know. I
that's
would just
true.
read
Yeah.
funny things, joke books. I definitely was a kid who would like look to see if the dictionaries had the cuss words in them.
Oh, that's
Oh,
fun. I
that's
don't think I
always
ever did
fun.
that.
But I've always been really into maps. And as a kid, I
Yes.
loved atlases. I would
Yeah,
go find
still do.
globes and atlases and anything that the library had on that.
Like one of the happiest days of my adulthood was when I was tasked to make a promo video for when the Neo Futurists went to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Hmm.
And me and the other person I was tasked with, we had an idea to do like kind of like a stop animation kind of
Yeah.
thing. And I went to a like cheap used bookstore and found a 3 foot tall world atlas from like 1986 to use as our backdrop. And I love that thing.
Oh
To
man.
this day, sometimes when I'm feeling blue, I'll just get a little stoned and I'll just look at the world in extreme close-up detail from 1986.
I really love that. I get upset if I see a globe like
Oh yeah.
wherever, if it's in somebody's house, if it's in a antique shop, whatever. If I see a globe, I will immediately just start scanning the globe and try and
Yeah.
figure out when it was printed.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Because then you start thinking like, oh, this doesn't have South Sudan on it, so this must be from X number of years ago. And like, oh, this still has East Germany or what have you
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah. I have a globe lamp is my kind of my movie watching when I go to
Hmm.
like movie mode in my living room. It's like all lights off except for my globe lamp, which is my ambient light.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, it has been since this is episode number 258, and
Oh my.
this is a sequel to the movie Suspiria, which we covered
Yes.
238 episodes ago,
Oh
back in
my.
episode 20. And yeah, it was fun getting back into the three mothers, the three sisters.
Hmm.
Three mothers is such an interesting thing. This movie opens, Inferno, Dario Argento, opens with we get this book knife,
Oh my
a
God,
cool
yes.
snake keychain, and then a copy of this old dusty tome called The Three Mothers.
Oh.
And it talks about, it sets up, oh my God, what an info dump to start a
I
film with
know, right?
Cecil.
Like not even title cards. You're just like, here's the story of the three mothers.
Uh-huh. And it
As
and it doesn't show us anything about them. It only shows this woman reading this book.
hmm
Awesome.
Yeah, that's it. We don't know who she is. We don't know. She's just fabulous. Her nails, fabulous.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Just lounging. Like she is reading in the way we all imagine ourselves reading when we think,
Yes.
Saturday I'm looking forward to just being alone. Husband and the kids are out. I can just sit on the floor,
I
leaning
was gonna say
against the
sitting on a
couch
rug.
with a
Yeah.
cup of tea, reading this book.
Licking your finger, turning the page. I love that she has to like cut open. I love that detail. She has to like cut open the
The
front page,
the
like it because it
signature,
just,
yeah.
it just says like, ooh, dusty old tome
Yeah.
when books were made different.
It's so good. Um,
However, what she is reading, I gotta say, it's a little dry, Jeffrey.
it is it is word salad. It took me
Yep.
this opening like 7 minutes just to get a paragraph of notes from took me like almost 20 minutes to like
They're
rewind and be
mothers,
like,
but they're
oh my
not
God.
mothers. They're in fact sisters, but they're evil sisters. But they're stepmothers that are stepmothers of nothing and of evil. Huh? What you talking about? And also, I have to say, Jeffrey, why is he writing in Latin?
I don't
Like,
know.
no one writes in Latin.
Well,
No one.
and as we will learn, he's like 80 years old. Like
Yeah.
from it's not even like he's from
He's
like the
not from
1500s.
Rome
No.
just because he's Italian. My only guess is that he's trying to keep the information secret,
Yes.
assuming that, no one is going to read his journals if he writes in Latin. Like, no one's going to be like flipping through his journals and be like, oh, wait, this building that I'm living in is actually a portal to hell?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Unless you get a Latin dictionary, which our main character, well, not our main character. Is there a main character in this movie? Mark, I think.
Yeah, because Mark is the through line in this movie, but he doesn't have main character energy. He's got more
No.
like Alice in Wonderland energy. Like
Well,
things are just happening around him. He's
yes,
curious,
things are
but
like
he's
he's
like,
just sort of like, I don't know. I guess I'll turn over this rock.
yeah.
I read somewhere that Dario Nickelodeon and Argento were kind of inspired by Hansel and Gretel for this movie. So it is kind of a brother sister get
Uh-huh.
sucked into an evil labyrinth apartment building rather than a
Yes.
gingerbread house.
I have lots of notes on this script. It's such a
Uh-huh.
fabulous movie, but man, it's just I,
Plot?
the the lunar eclipse is the least of the
Characters?
issues here. But yes.
Beats?
Uh-huh.
Things just happen. But
Well,
you know what? They look fucking fabulous while they happen.
yes. So the idea is we had Mother Suspiriorum in Freiburg, Germany. That was
Oh, check. Mother
the
of
witch
mother of
mother from
size.
Suspiria, mother of
She's super old.
size.
She's the oldest. Yeah.
Mhm. We also have the mother of tears,
Hot.
Lacrimarum. In
Hot.
she's the most beautiful in
Yes.
Rome.
We see her in this film.
We do,
And
and
then I would like to point out I did see the premiere of Mother of Tears in New York City back in what 2007, and it was not one of my favorites.
okay, yes, this is a thing I've heard about Mother of Tears. Mother of Darkness is
Yes.
Mater Tenebrarum,
Yeah.
who lives in New York, and she is the youngest and cruelest of them all.
Oh, I love it.
Hmm. I think the takeaway here that I liked was is that they're all three sisters, but they refer to themselves as the mother of sighs, the mother of tears, the mother of
Yeah.
darkness. And as the writer, this man Varelli, who's writing in Latin, says, they're the mother of nothing.
Yeah.
Like they're not mothers of anything. And so he has this kind of Indiana Jones's dad type of instructions about here's some really vague clues. And I'm like, just say what you mean
The
because
key is below your feet. The key
again,
is also in the basement.
what?
The key to what?
Well, and it's so funny because he's like, there are three keys to understanding. I built these. So Varelli built
Yes.
a house for each of these witches, these
Mm-hmm.
mothers these sisters in those three cities, not knowing kind of the extent of their power, just thinking,
Yeah.
hey, I'm an architect. I'll build this shit for these people.
But it's
And
going to
then,
like amplify their witchy vibrations.
yeah. So first key is the land around the houses will reek. And
Yes.
there will be a sickly sweet stench, and it will spread death all around eventually. Second key is that in the basement, in the cellar of each of these three buildings, you will find a picture and a name of the sister who lives there.
Okay, cool. Check.
And those are so specific, right? Like
Yeah.
that's descriptive. The third key can be found under the soles of your shoes.
Like on
Okay.
the rug?
Just you're already
On the
writing
sidewalk?
all of this in the book. Just say there's a secret floorboard crawl space
Yeah.
in the building in New York City.
Yeah.
So we're gonna meet poet Rose Elliott.
Poetry.
Poetry. I
That's
don't
a
even know her. What?
that's a job for women.
Rose lives in one of the few standalone, like freestanding apartment buildings in New York City.
Yes.
Also, they don't ever. Okay, I guess this is part of the lore of the building because we'll find out later there's crawl spaces between
Mhm.
each floor.
Yes. So
But
mother can just be mothering in the floorboards the entire time.
yes, but also we see the building several times. She has a picture of the building on the
Mhm.
wall of her apartment. It is a 4-story building,
Yeah.
ground floor, and then 3 more floors above it.
Yep.
She lives, they say, on the 4th floor.
Yeah.
Later, when we meet the Countess Elise,
Oh,
love her.
she
She
lives
lives upstairs.
above them. On what floor again?
I don't know. Okay, Rose lives in the standalone building on the Upper West Side, I guess is
I'm
my
guessing Riverside Drive.
yes.
Based on the view from when Mark looks out the window, he
You
can
can see
see
the
the West Side
Palisades.
Highway and the Palisades.
Uh-huh.
And having lived on, like, I lived in the upper, like West Harlem-y,
Mm-hmm.
but like that looks to me like, oh, I know this view. If you need to go to that, what is that giant, not Gristedes, what is that giant grocery store with the walk-in freezer
Oh
room?
God.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, I know.
D'Agostino's,
Yeah, something
Zabars.
like that.
Yeah.
But yes, I was like, okay, I think we're on Riverside Drive.
Uh-huh.
So, so there's some old money up there. Makes sense. I'm like, great.
Definitely.
Appreciate.
Yeah. She's next door to the building is Kazanian's antique store,
Uh,
just where she's bought her
we're going to
book.
get into Kazanian in a minute.
Uh-huh. So she writes a letter about, so she's reading this book. We'll learn throughout this that she is very intrigued with the lore
Yes.
around the 3 mothers, and in particular, whatever mother might be inhabiting her building. She seems pretty certain of that. But in reading this book, she finally gets some more clues. She writes this all in a letter to her brother, Mark, who is a musicology student
Mhm.
in Rome.
Sexy.
Italy, yeah. And she so she writes him to be like, I'm a little alarmed. I just want to talk about this thing. This is so interesting. But she wants to get more info, so she goes back to Kazanian. He is one, he's so gruff,
Yeah.
but like Italian, like
Oh, absolutely.
Italian gruff, and I can't pinpoint exactly what makes that different.
I think it's, here's the thing. People just say things in this movie
Hmm.
to each other. No, at each other, but not necessarily to each other.
Hmm.
Like people ask questions and then the other person will respond with something so far out of left field.
Yeah.
I'm looking for this book. No. What do you mean no?
He's she asked for more info about this thing, and he is very much of the mindset of, I don't believe in all that mumbo jumbo. There's lots of really cool lore to read about. It's just lore.
Yeah.
That's kind of the tact he's taken.
Matter of fact, he even says he's like, women love this kind of thing.
Yes. And then he
Mostly
says,
women that believe this ghost story bullshit.
and she's like, okay, well, I was just interested in getting more info. And he says, the only true mystery is our lives are governed by dead people. Good night.
What?
What does that mean?
What? Also, can we talk about what's in his store? Like his antique store,
Uh huh.
wild. Mostly the antiques that he sells are creepy ass dolls.
Yeah.
Like he loves dolls. There's dolls everywhere. There's dolls in the front window. He has dolls like in the upper, like in the attic. But also, like, did you clock the full on jaguar head? The like actual jaguar head ashtray that he has?
No, that's
This is a
great.
thing from like a lot of Italian movies of this era, like politically correct, whatever the opposite of that is, like they're like, oh, is it a sexy animal that's on the endangered list? I want that on my wall.
2 seconds here. I'm having, here we go. Technology issues. So I want to also point out that she brings up to Kazanian that those three keys, and the first one is the foul
Yes.
odor. And she says, there's this like sickly
Oh
sweet
my
odor
God.
around here. And he's like, oh, that's just the cake factory. You'll get used to it.
The cake factory?
That sounds like a
What?
club. That sounds like a club. Like,
Oh my God, are you going to Cake Factory this Friday? It's
I'm going.
only open from 1 p.m. to 2:30 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
You have to bring a key in the sole of your shoe to get in and a cat in a bag.
Oh God, the cats. Love the cats in this movie. So she leaves his place and notices there's a cellar door entrance.
I love it. Jeffrey, no prep. Like the fact that she lives 50 feet away.
Uh-huh.
She is in heels, a
Yeah.
sensible blouse,
Uh-huh.
skirt, and she's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go tromping around the basement. No flashlight,
No.
no prep, no nothing. Just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go digging around in the cellar
Yeah.
of my New York City apartment building.
Yeah, there's a new udon place that opened a couple months ago, like
It's a pop
four
up.
doors down from me.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh, I want to go try that place out. You know what? It's lunchtime now. I'm gonna run upstairs, drop my things off,
Yeah,
and then
and
hop
then pop
over.
over.
And
Yeah,
pop over. And it was very good. But yeah, no need to drag my shopping bag and my backpack into there.
no.
No. So she dips down into this place. A lot of just walking through corridors in this movie.
It's a lot of interiors, and this is kind of like a love-hate thing with Dario Argento.
Uh-huh.
Is the interior spaces to these movies are kind of like what make the movies really fantastical.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit dull, not gonna lie. It's like you said, it's a lot of walking through spaces. It's like the interior spaces of these movies kind of make the atmosphere of where they're at. But even though it's not like the most exciting thing, it's so pretty, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
It's like the most fantastic colors that you would never put together, like magenta and blue, and then like peach and green. Like he is not afraid of a fucking gel over a light.
No,
As a matter of fact, he demands it.
he does. Yeah, the layers he creates too, like, cause he does a lot of like either a stairwell or
Hmm.
hallway or like a space with a couple of spaces within that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
space, if that makes sense. And each one is kind of separately lit. So he likes having two or three different lit spaces in a single scene. Well, she gets down to this sort of cellar basement area, finds like dripping water into a hole,
Okay.
and she loses her keys.
Oh no. Drops into the puddle,
Uh huh.
but that puddle is in fact not a puddle.
No.
It is a reservoir underneath the Hudson River.
It's like a very This is like very clean water that has filled up what
Oh, the
looks to be
most.
like an old ballroom or
That,
something.
yeah.
Well, she,
Because
okay,
okay, so she can see her keys and they're kind of like stuck on something. We're like, okay, girl. So she doesn't even roll up her sleeves. She's just like, this silk blouse, toast, going right in.
yeah,
Can't quite reach them. Let me take off my shoes
uh huh,
and completely submerge myself.
uh huh.
No, no, she finds a light. She finds a bare bulb,
A bare bulb, like clip light, like a
clip
garage
light,
light. Yep,
and just fucking dives on in.
uh huh.
Eyes open.
We're not worried about pink eye.
My God. Like,
Uh,
like whenever I see people in New York City, especially, but in any city, like just take off their shoes
ooh,
in public, I'm like, you're dead.
yeah,
You're toast. Like you have so many diseases right now.
mm-hmm,
But if you're getting into stagnant water
yeah,
underneath your basement's basement, which is
yeah.
not really a thing in New York City. Like New York, they don't really have basements, right? Like you have like maybe basement, like
I
there's like
mean,
one, I guess there is like one floor below, but you can't
yeah.
go too deep because there's subways underneath there.
There's subways, and also like the bedrock in a lot of those places
Yeah,
is really, really, really tough, and there's no need
no.
for deep
Like
basements.
New York City is famously a city that built up,
Yeah,
not down.
and you can't to make large buildings, you need big investments, and to get big investments, you need to have sellable space, and basement is not sellable
Right.
because you cannot sell a home without windows. So,
Unless you're a witch that lives on the darkness and pain and suffering of others. And
yeah.
then you're like, rent stabilized, baby.
Sometimes people, when they watch movies, we've said it before on this show, sometimes people will play the drinking game. Like, let's do the
Yes.
drinking
Uh-huh.
game. Anytime the character says this or does
Hmm.
this gesture, a game I don't want you to play is, can you hold your breath as long as Rose?
Oh
Because
my
I
God.
clocked this.
Like
Don't
five
do
minutes?
this. Okay,
Seven
well, no,
minutes?
it's not that long. Like, it is doable. But she, this first time in, holds her breath for a minute and 16 seconds. Not just
Okay.
holds her breath, but she is swimming around.
Yeah.
Like, most people will start tapping out at
A
45
minute.
seconds
Yeah.
that's when it gets really uncomfortable. So a minute and 16 seconds, and then the keys actually fall off of that chandelier
Oh
and all the way
no.
to the bottom. So we're talking another like at minimum like 15 feet down.
Yeah.
She goes back down, and she is down there for a minute and 42 seconds.
That's long. That's like cliff diver.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Not to mention the fact that while she's down there, she's just like burbling around, exploring the space.
No urgency.
And then, no,
Uh-huh.
no urgency. She's like, oh, where am I? Oh, there my keys? Let's see what's over here. And there's like, and it's kind of a cool, again, the interior spaces of this movie are fucking dope. Like the idea that there's this like submerged water basement ballroom with like we see the mother, and we see like a painting. It
Yep.
says like, Mother Lacrimatum,
Mother
Lacrimeum,
Tenebrarum.
Tenebrarum. There we go.
Tenebrarum.
Hanna-Barbera, Mother
Uh-huh.
Hanna-Barbera.
Uh-huh.
And there's like a weird door that keeps opening and closing, from the tides. I don't
Sure.
know. And then, in what is one of my favorite jump scares in this movie, rotting corpse, just
Rotting
like straight
corpse.
up in the camera, straight up in the camera.
And it's a good just audio visual jump scare. Just wah!
Yeah,
And she starts, and this thing just kind of just keeps following her.
but it follows her like a balloon, but here's the thing, it's very specifically like comes at her feet,
Yeah.
which made me think it's just like, hey, can I just see your feet? Can
it's
can I just bump my head against your feet as like it's kink?
it's the rotted corpse of Quentin Tarantino
That's
trying
it.
to get up in that.
But here's the thing, like when you're scared,
Uh-huh.
you lose, like that's when like your heart starts beating, and that's like, and she can't find the exit. Oh my God. I mean, it's as a scare, it's actually not bad because like you get the claustrophobia of being in a room. It's kind of like, like when people fall under the ice and they can't find the hole to get back out.
Yeah.
She kind of goes through that. So it's like, so open this movie with like a pretty solid scare of the claustrophobia, drowning fear,
Yeah.
plus rotting corpses that come out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah. I
Here's
think
but Jeffrey, what is this room? Why is this room never discussed? Never mentioned?
he goes Argento. This movie go if you like Argento's style, this is really stylized.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. It's really fun. I think he I think he gives it short shrift on the horror elements of it.
Hmm.
That the floating corpse jump scare is such a good, like, the most basic jump scare.
Yeah.
The AV jump scare, just whack, here's
Yeah.
sound
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
visual. But he it's funny that you mentioned the claustrophobia of, can't get out from the ice hole or what have you. He spends no time building a scene that builds that tension.
No.
The only thing that makes me think, oh, that's scary, is that I inherently know that's sort of scary. But he's getting like wide shot of her whole body in the water, and we'll see when she climbs out. She's like braless in a thin white blouse,
Oh
so we're
yeah.
just going to see all of her body, and I'm great. I mean, that's a very Italian sort of style of ways to do things, but it does signify to me that we're looking at the style over the tension,
The
over the
substance.
scares. Yeah, the
Yeah.
substance. Yeah. Well, the last thing I'll say is we're gonna get a couple of repeated visual and verbal cues. One, as she leaves, black gloves pick up the lipstick that she left behind. I think is
Her
what that.
lighter.
Her lighter. Okay.
There's your drinking game. I
Every
mean,
time a black
like
glove.
that, like any time, like any Italian 70s, 80s Italian, giallo, like anytime you see a black glove killer, you drink.
Hmm. As she's getting back into her apartment, like she already is hearing men chattering in the background, being like, "She's sniffing around. Somebody's nosing around. We need to do this thing." And we cut to Rome. And
Oh, okay. All right. Bye,
we're now
Rose.
by Rose.
Goodbye.
We're at a music class at a university auditorium. Every student has their. Oh, this is very nice. They all have their own headphones
Yeah.
at their sitting station. They're listening to a Verdi opera. And Mark has a moment. So he's got. I don't know if it's his girlfriend or this friend. But he's got a
Seems like a
classmate.
friend.
Yes,
Yeah, like classmate
Sarah,
friend.
sitting next to him. So he's also very bored and distracted in this class. So he has his letter from his sister. He kind of looks at it. He doesn't open it. And then he looks down and to his left, and sitting in the row in front of him is a woman. We just see the back of her head, and she's got a cat. She's just petting this big fluffy cat.
Big cat.
Big cat. And
Big orange
he's
cat.
sort of curious about that.
Like, that's
Pays it
weird.
no mind. pays it no mind, goes back to his his letter from his sister, cracks it open, starts reading it, looks back down at this woman, and she's just staring daggers at him. Catwoman
Full
is.
staring at, yeah,
This
full
actually I felt
stare.
was a really good jump scare. I
I
started
love it.
when this happened.
Because this to me is like more the psychological scare
Uh-huh.
of like what is clearly out of place. She
Yes.
doesn't have headphones on. What the fuck is she doing with the cat? And why is she staring at me?
Uh-huh.
Because she's staring at the camera. So I, the audience, am thinking like, oh, she is staring at me. And then we see that uncomfortableness on Mark's face of like, what do I have something on my is it my blonde mustache that's distracting you?
My God. And she is just mouthing very
Yes.
tiny mouth movements of like
Oh, she's
some
casting a fucking spell,
words at
man. I
him.
love that.
And he's trying to do things back to her. Like, what are
Like,
we
hey, do you need a
talking about?
pencil?
What are you talking
What do you,
about?
I can't, I have headphones on. You should be, or do you know, do you need the notes for this week's lecture?
The
Are you
thing
looking for the Wi-Fi password? What are you telling me?
so he finally just puts the also the
I
windows just
love
burst
it.
open.
Yes.
Wind is blowing everywhere in the
Nobody notices.
classroom.
And that's the other thing. It's like nobody paying any attention. Like even his friend is like, "Oh, you look, we're here in this point in the music." Like nobody registers this like supernatural force.
No.
That's some creepy ass magic shit.
Yeah. He at the end of class, he like leaves his letter behind and sees this very hot woman with the cat leaving, and he just follows her out. And Sarah, his classmate, picks it up, and she is taking a cab home. It's raining.
Uh-huh.
Goblin music is playing full
Yes,
bore.
naturally.
So good. Bitchin' soundtrack. She opens the letter and is reading it with great concern. And she tells her driver, take me to a new address. And she sends the driver to take her to the library. Right? Is that what we're talking about here? Or
I
is this
think
the
she's
actual building in
I think
Rome?
that's the house of the mother. That's
Okay.
the house of
And
mother.
let's see. It's
House of
Lacrimera.
LaBeija. Which
Mater
why would she put
Lacrimera.
that like I guess that she put the exact address in her letter. She's like, "Hey, brother, there's a witch house in Rome. You should stop by sometime. I live in a witch house. You live near a witch house. Go check it out. It's 49 La Pastoria Way."
Uh-huh. But I guess I got confused when I realized, all right, so they have a library in this building,
Yes.
and there is
I,
they have
oh,
a
Sarah.
copy of the book in the building, which
Uh-huh.
is a book they don't want out available to the
Mhm.
public. I'm so confused by how
It's
these mothers, these sisters
Jeffrey.
do business. What
What?
is
Well,
why?
I mean, okay, so it starts with her getting out of the cab in the rain. She doesn't pay the taxi driver, which is one of my like least favorite
Yes.
movie tropes. I'm like, girl,
She does the second time. Her
she
cab
does
back
the second
home,
time, but
she
she doesn't the
does.
first time.
No.
And she just wanders up, and you can tell it's like a cool building. Again, it's all about the spaces. And there's clearly a doorman. We see a faraway shot, we see a medium shot, and then the doorman, like, she literally just goes, oh, Jesus Christ. I'm like, girl, he's been standing there the whole fucking time.
He's like, "Are you
And
okay? Can I help you?" No.
just bolts inside. It is like 10 p.m. on a Tuesday night. He doesn't ask her who she is, why she's going to the library. No, she just runs the fuck inside. We discover it's a gorgeous library. Ooh, spooky old books. Love some
Uh-huh.
spooky old books. I kind This is where I'm like like I feel like so many of these movies of the like 70s and 80s are like ripe for remake because there's such good stuff in there, but I think in the they were focusing on different stuff. Like the filmmakers were focused on different ideas and different themes than what we find scary now. So
Right.
when she's walking through this library and this woman, there's only like three people in there, and there's a woman who just kind of looks up at her and smiles, kind of a like culty, we've been expecting you kind of smile. Like that to me is so much scarier than pots of bubbling wax that somebody with a gross ass hand is going to put your face into. You know?
Yeah.
Like that, I think is like more of where the horror genre has turned into of like everyone around you knows a secret that you don't know,
Yeah.
that you're being lured into a honey trap. But like you said, Jeffrey, they have this book available, readily available, like
Yeah.
on the first shelf you encounter in this library.
Yeah.
Why is the witch also trying to destroy the books?
I really don't understand. And also, it I can't spend too much time on this or it'll make me so mad about the movie because it's it fully these witches, these I keep saying witches, they have the vibe, but they're witches, right?
Yeah,
These
like they're
sisters,
like yeah, witch demons, but I think witches is the appropriate word.
they like completely lack the basic understanding of how humans work, which is
Oh yeah,
we're fascinated in mythology. No one is out here being like, I'm gonna hunt me some witches. Not in the
yeah.
modern era. And so
They want to discover witches,
they
but they
want
don't necessarily want to hunt them.
they don't want to hunt them, and they also it's like no one's gonna like discover shit about you. Like
Yeah,
no, the world is just like, yeah, there's some freaky old shit. It's New York City. I don't know. What are you gonna do about it? It's
yeah.
Rome. There's a bunch of freaky old shit
You're
here.
like,
Kind of
maybe
like
I'll go to that building and be like, oh, supposedly this, like in a more ghost hunter kind of way,
yeah,
not to like kill the ghost, but just to be like, there's a ghost in that building. There's a witch in that building. Ooh. All right, back to my studies.
yeah. But they just hyper react to every
Yeah,
little thing the humans are doing.
yeah.
Like,
And which is also like kind
relax.
of just like, yeah, like counterintuitive to like supposedly like a centuries old being
Yeah,
that has weathered the test of time. And now all of a sudden, like some 20-year-old girl is gonna like upturn your whole bullshit.
yeah. I just think about the way back having like office jobs, and it was the person who we all have computer issues. We had computer issue getting online today and getting the microphone to hook up and work right, and we walked through it. We just like
Yeah,
stayed calm. We did the thing. I
yeah.
always noticed in office jobs there'd be at least just one person who everything about computers freaked them out
Oh, frustrated the fuck out of
and
them. Yeah.
frustrated them so much that they were the ones who always had the computer problems.
Oh,
And that's
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of how
yeah.
these sisters are, which is you're creating so many problems for
For
yourself
yourself. Yeah,
because you're freaking out about every fucking thing. If you
yeah.
just relax, I'm not saying ignore every problem and they'll go away, but I am saying you have to relax into them so you understand what are the real problems.
But you know what? You get to kill way less people that way.
That's true. That is true. I do like that they are kind of having fun.
They're trigger happy.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, when she gets into that. So, okay, so Sarah she's like, "Oh, it's closing time. I'm gonna steal this book in the most subtle way possible."
What?
Just like been caught stealing. The time was five. Da-da-da-da-da-da. She just walks out the door, but she goes like down instead of out, and she finds a full-on goblin cave. Like bubbling cauldrons, some creepy old man at the far end just being, she's like, "Hey, is there an exit around here?" "Excuse me, sir." No response. "Excuse
No.
me, how do I leave?" And he literally says, "The other door." Like,
The
so
end.
clearly, like the servants of the three mothers are they're used to people just blundering into their bullshit all the time.
he he notices this servant, this goblin guy, notices in the mirror that she's holding a copy of that book. oh no.
Oh
And
no,
he
I've been
takes those
discovered. There's a book
black,
that they have in the library.
he slips the black gloves off and has like long goblin claws
Yeah,
for hands.
yeah, witch finger.
And at this point, I'm like, why do we have black gloves anymore?
I don't know. I don't know.
Anyways, he attacks her. He's like putting her face into the bubbling cauldron, but
Yes,
she breaks free. Her blouse gets caught on a door,
of course.
but she
She
breaks
can't figure
free
that
just in
out. She can't
time.
figure out how to like. She can't, move back 3 inches, unhook herself. She's got to just fucking rip that blouse off.
She gets back to her apartment and
Oh my God.
runs into a man, Carlo, on the elevator.
Life was wild.
Yeah.
Life was wild before the internet, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
You would, she sees a man in her elevator. The man clearly notices she's holding her ripped blouse shut and goes, "Oh, oh." And he says, "What floor?" She's like, "Whatever floor."
Uh-huh.
"Please don't go. I'm very afraid and don't want to be alone." And he says, "You know what? I don't have anywhere to go. I've got a couple hours to kill."
I'll keep you company. Okay.
Sure,
Wild. Wild.
sure. Stranger danger? Not a thing,
No.
apparently.
No, no, no.
I mean, he's cute,
Sure. And he seems
not
harmless.
witchy.
He seems
Yeah,
harmless, but you don't know who's harmless, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So she invites him into her apartment. I do like the fact that she basically puts on a Verdi opera on the record player and then
Yes,
walks in the other room and calls her brother,
I know. I love it.
or calls
Her
Rose's
calls her
brother.
friend Mark. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Who's like, "Oh my God, did you read this letter? You need to read this letter. You need to come over here right now."
yes. So she calls Mark to be like, "Come over." Also, this fucking dialogue. So
I know.
they're setting apart. This movie makes a big deal about there are artists. There are two types of people in the world. There are people, artists and art loving people,
Yeah,
and there's people who do not give a shit
don't
about
give a
that,
fuck.
who cannot comprehend what art
It feels
is.
very Italian.
Yeah,
And it's like the artists are the ones that are like so close to the veil between the natural and the supernatural that sometimes they stumble through it.
yeah.
And then there's people like this dude, Carlo, who
Sports
is a
writer.
sports writer, like the straightest of the straight arrows, who's like, "I don't give a fuck about your mumbo jumbo." Literally, she says, like, "Have you heard about the three sisters?" He's
Uh-huh.
like, "What, those black singers?
Jesus.
You mean the Pointer Sisters?"
What is happening?
She's like, "No, the mythology of the three mothers, the three witches." That you're like, "Girl, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
You got to give me some context, some lead up."
yeah,
We're back in an Omen situation almost. It's like the opposite of the Omen situation, where you come in so hot,
yes,
you're like the devil's out to kill you, and you're like, what? You got to lead me in. She's like the opposite. She's like, no context. She
yeah,
doesn't say like, "Here was my night. I'm actually trying to unravel this mystery, and I went to this library, and this man with witch fingers attacked me. That's why I'm afraid to be alone." He's like, and I think that would be something to be like, "Oh my gosh,
no,
tell
she's
me
not
more."
into being direct and talking. She's,
No,
do you know about the three sisters? They're witches. They're in three different cities. And then he's like, listen, I don't believe in any
I
of
cover
this.
football.
Uh-huh.
I cover more football.
Uh-huh.
And what else do they play in Italy?
Uh,
Also football.
also football. Yeah. And he he says, I don't believe in anything I can't see or touch, basically.
Rock.
Well, then she's on the phone with Mark telling him to come over. Couple of things here is we people get marked in this movie
Yeah.
by almost every time somebody's about to die, they cut themselves on something.
Yes. Love that. Like
Uh,
I kind of love that as an idea. I think it's great.
yeah,
Like she cut her finger on the cab before she went into the library.
yeah,
Later Rose is going to cut her hand on the Listen, Jeffrey, I'm not going to lie. I spent time Googling where to get those crystal
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
doorknobs.
Yep.
I might have gone down a bit of a rabbit hole to put crystal doorknobs on my house. Um, no, but I love that as an idea because it's that thing of like you never know. Is it the witches doing their thing? Is it coincidence? Is it just an asshole servant plotting your demise? Like it could be anything or
Uh-huh.
all the things.
Yeah. Well, the the
But this,
power
but
starts
this,
cutting out in
yeah.
her apartment. Like goes out and comes back on, goes out, comes back on. So the lights and the music are flickering on and off. Carlo's like, "Hey, where's your fuse box?" Down the hall. Well, I'll go look at it, get it figured out.
But keep talking, because I'm scared,
Like, just walk with me then.
right? You're like a room away.
Yeah, why am I here when you just went to the other room to talk to your friend on the phone?
Oh my God. I mean, he's reading his sports magazine, so he's perfectly happy.
Sure, he's just like, I just have to be in the room with you.
But I'm very confused. There's this one specific like montage, like a
Uh-huh.
little vignette in which a black glove killer starts like undoing a little paper doll and starts cutting the heads off little black paper dolls.
Right?
Cool, love
Yep.
that.
Love it.
I thought for a second it might be Carlo, but I was like, no, 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 he's not wearing black gloves. Okay, cool. Then it's a shot of a lizard eating a moth.
Yep.
Creepy.
Makes sense.
Then it's a shot of a woman who is absolutely not in this film,
Nope.
hanging by the neck from a rope, who we have never seen. We will never see her.
Nope.
No one will ever talk about her. Unknown.
Yep. What?
Huh? Is this is this is it footage from Suspiria? I mean, because a woman hangs by the neck in Suspiria, but I don't think it's her.
No.
Is this another movie you're making? Did you just not have enough footage to make this movie? So you're like, you know what? We're working on this other film. Let's just put some shit in there.
I, I will. I think for me, in fact, a friend of mine just sent me a first draft of a screenplay and was asking my thoughts. And so, when did some read through and gave some notes, and it's a really great idea. And there's obviously some stuff you want to like keep punching up the
Sure.
dialogue. You want to like enrich the characters a bit, maybe clarify a few points in it.
Yeah.
It felt structurally on par, that first draft of my friend's screenplay, with this movie. It had a lot
Okay.
of really great ideas,
Yeah.
but it hasn't been ironed out yet. There's some stuff in it that I'm like, I'm not sure why you put this visual in here. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not connecting. Why is that there? And I just feel like I think he wrote a first draft, did a pass for spelling and grammar,
Mhm.
and then shot this movie.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. That's how I felt about it. Because great ideas, a great
Oh, yeah.
artist on a first draft will wow you with this montage is beautiful. It's really
Yeah.
good. It makes
But it
no
makes
sense.
it makes no sense, and it's never tethered to anything else.
No.
Like if like we found out that like the sort of the use of these like dolls is how they like get you as part of the magic. If this woman who was hanged by the neck was even remotely explained,
No.
I'd be there for it.
Yeah.
I think there is something about the filmmaking of this time that's like, what scares you? Like they take out a sheet of notebook paper. They're like, what do you find scary? Sharp things being stabbed into your eye,
Uh-huh.
being strangled, drowning, being thrown into a room full of razor blades, all the weird ass, like the most, like no wrong ideas, creative brainstorming.
Uh-huh.
And then they try to put as many of those ideas into these films as possible. And they say, I don't give a fuck why they're there.
Yeah.
I just need a man drowning in Central Park being eaten by rats. That's
Yeah.
all I need because rats are scary.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I
Yep.
don't care how we got there. I don't care why it's there. I have rats on the bullet point list. We're going with rats.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of love it for that. Like it's so unhinged, Jeffrey. And yes, we look at these movies 40 years, 45 years later, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? But there's something like there's a bravado about that's like, I don't know. I thought it was scary. Why is there a room filled with water underneath your apartment building? I don't know. I thought drowning was scary, so I put it in there.
Yeah, and
And it will
scary.
and it'll look cool.
I was gonna say, or it's beautiful,
Yeah.
and this movie is scary, and this movie is unsettling and
Yeah.
beautiful. I don't find this movie scary at all, other
Yeah.
than like
Fleeting moments.
fleeting moments. Like the situationally, it's scary, but he's not. He doesn't do much to build the tension because you know what's going to happen in those
Yeah.
moments. I thought with the paper doll cutting, I thought because it was very particularly for dolls.
Yeah.
So I thought, all right, we have a body count. Who are our bodies? Who
Yeah.
are our four
Rose,
people?
Sarah,
And how will they
Mark.
all have their heads chopped
Yeah.
or heads cut into?
Yeah.
I'm trying. Was it the Omen? The movie The Omen, where
Yes.
that picture, the
Yeah,
picture
like
kept showing how the head would be slashed.
Mm-hmm. And listen, it does listen, Rose's death,
Yes,
chef's kiss.
it's great.
Like that's classic.
And
Some
also,
of the
well, Carlo goes to the fuse box.
Yes, he does.
He's like, I think I got it fixed. And she's showing up right as he's coming out.
She's like,
and
"I'm
he's got a
scared."
knife through the side of his neck, coming out the
Oh,
other end.
this
And I
poor
thought,
dude.
there it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Neck, dead head. Yeah.
What are they going to do to slice her neck? Nothing.
No.
One, Carlo is not a graceful dyer.
Oh my God. The acting in this is phenomenal.
And then he falls on top of her.
So like the killer is just standing there watching this. That's what I love. Like we never see the killer's point of view of like how awkward this would be.
Right.
There's just like some like 160-pound Italian man just like wriggling around on top of you, and you're like, no, you're bleeding on me.
Ugh. Well, she dies because they take the knife. I don't even know why I say the Black Glove Killer. It's the Goblin Man who lives in the
Goblin
thing.
Man. Yeah.
The Goblin Man takes the knife out of Carlo's neck and shoves it in her back. The end. Sort of. Because
Do
Mark
you know
is
the
going to...
Goblin Man?
Mark is going to arrive at the apartment
Immediately after.
immediately after this. This is his through line. Anytime he shows up at a new place,
Too little, too
people are
late.
dead.
Yeah, too little, too late.
Oh, there's just a whole scrim that looks like a wall.
What? Okay.
What happened here? It's like not even a scrim. It's like made out of
It's
wrapping
like a
paper.
painting or something.
Yeah.
It's like framed. But Mark is just standing in his friend's 12-bedroom apartment building.
What the fuck? I want to be
And
a
he's like,
musicology major. They make tons of
Right?
cash.
Real estate's cheap in Rome, apparently.
I guess.
And he's like, that's weird. My friend said to come over, and now there's no one here. Oh, what is that? Wallpaper? A curtain? And it's got like something poking through it, kind of cool looking. And then Sarah's dead body just tumbles through, and it's the same hallway to where they just like, what? Huh? Awesome. Listen, the lighting, phenomenal. And then you get this like cool thing of like he's holding the body through the torn, like he's through the looking glass curtain kind of thing.
Yeah.
What the fuck is Goblin Man? Is he like redecorating?
I don't know.
Is he putting up like a false to like be like, nope, this is now a 6-bedroom.
I
Pay no attention. I'm just going to partition this whole wing of the murder building. This, this is the murdering section.
That was, I remember going when I was looking at apartments last, and I went to go see something that was listed as a 2-bedroom, and I got there and I just saw the 1-bedroom, and I was like, where's
Okay.
the 2nd bedroom? They're like, well, what
You're
you could
in
do
it.
is the dining
sitting in it.
area. You could just get a movable wall and block that off, and it would be a bedroom. And I'm like, that's
Girl.
like you could
False
do that with
advertising.
anything. You could do
Yeah.
that with any. I could put 5 of those in my living room and have like a 4-bedroom
It's
apartment.
now,
I
yeah,
don't.
exactly. You're like, matter of fact, wasn't that a Night Vale joke of like each room is now only like
Yes,
1 foot by 1 foot?
people got so tired of open floor plan concept that they were like, I want a more closed floor plan.
That's great for hosting parties because nobody knows how many people are in the house.
Yep, and no one has to look or talk to anyone.
No, that's it.
Yeah. Well, this whatever this is,
Inexplicable.
inexplicable thing tears open, and the dead body of Sarah falls to the floor.
And Mark walks the fuck out.
He's just like,
Twice.
Nope.
Twice he will do this in this movie of like somebody dies in his arms or a building burns up and he walks out. Nobody gives a fuck.
What was the old like SNL short film? Was it SNL or Lonely Island? Maybe both. The cool guys don't look at explosions is kind of the vibe he's
Yeah,
giving off
yeah,
here. Like your
yeah.
best friend dies in class, just turn around and walk away.
Just walk away.
Building's on fire, you just barely survived, just walk away. Don't even
Nope,
look at it.
that's it. Matter of fact, somebody even said they're like, "What happened?" He's like, "I don't know. She was dead when I got there."
He's the most suspicious man.
Sir, but we've watched enough horror movies to know how those Italian police be, Jeffrey.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was going to become a plot line because I thought, wait a minute, if that's his girlfriend, we don't know for certain.
Right.
But I was presuming it was his girlfriend just because of the way she sat next to him. But they didn't kiss.
They
They didn't.
seemed friendly, but not necessarily girlfriend, boyfriend, but
Yeah,
friend,
they didn't
something.
have to be. But I was thinking like, oh wait, if the police are like, okay, you just arrived at your girlfriend's apartment.
Yeah.
There's another man there, and both of them are stabbed to death.
Yeah.
You, sir,
We
would like you
number
to
one.
here, sit down, read this sports magazine, and we'll be with you in a second with some questions.
Please don't leave the country, which he does the next day.
Immediately.
The next day.
Credit to Argento for just being like, I'm not gonna make a movie about shitty Italian police work.
No, he did that in Tenebrae.
Yes, totally. Because he's not interested in the procedural in this movie. He's interested in the visual art,
The ambiance.
Yeah, the ambiance.
Because I think like Suspiria, it's when Dario Nicolodi started writing these movies for him / with him, which is Suspiria and this movie, that it's like because he made so many of those like giallo police, Black Love Killer, like nothing supernatural happens. It's always a whodunit. It's the Italian, like Hercule Poirot of it all.
Yes.
So in these movies, it's like, who gives a fuck how we get from point A to point B? All we know is that point A and point B look awesome and have something mysteriously witchy about them.
Absolutely. Well, he's one outside of the apartment building. He'll see a cab or a car go by, and sitting in the back seat is that Catwoman just glaring at him.
Love it.
She goes nowhere, but I fucking love her.
I know. Like most underrated horror villain.
Yeah.
Underutilized.
Yeah.
Because I kind of love the idea that she's just like sitting there in her cab, like she's like put her little goblin minion. She's like, go kill the girl. Pets her cat. And she's just waiting in her car looking fabulous in Italian.
Oh my God.
And then like making spells to like remodel the woman's apartment after she's dead to like make it look like a different space. She's like evil, bewitched. Tabitha, evil Tabitha.
Yeah. She grows up to become the realtor at the end of American Psycho.
Yes.
Basically it. So back home. Okay, well, I should point out, before he found Sarah's body coming out of the wall painting, is he saw scraps of the letter that his sister had written. And the one thing that there's 2 bits of information he gets, and one says the third key is under the soles of your shoes, and the other is the word Kazanian.
Okay.
So he knows those 2 things. He calls Rose, tells her what's happened. She's like, you didn't read my letter. He's like, no, I didn't have time. She's like, you need to come home now. Come to New York. come back. And then the line goes out and he can't hear
That's
her
another
anymore.
thing. Another just movie trope. The
Yes.
like jiggling on the thing.
Who did that?
No one ever did that.
No.
I mean, maybe again, I was like, but a wee lad when this movie was made. But that would just mean that you hang up.
I
You
did
know,
that because I saw it in TV shows.
yeah,
And then I never understood what it was doing. Because really, what you want to do if you're not getting the dial tone is you just push it down, give it like two
yeah.
seconds, and then lift it back up again.
But that was like such a movie thing of like, hello, hello, jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. I don't think that really does anything. I don't know. Ask your parents. Maybe they have a different answer.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, now we're going to move back to Rose's life.
Oh my God, the fucking title card, Jeffrey. New York, that same night in April. Yeah, we know. We just watched the fucking phone call. We know how time and space works, Mr. Argento. We know if you make a call in Rome to New York, it's the same time.
Uh huh.
We understand that.
Yeah,
That we
we
understand.
watched her hang up with her
Hang
brother.
up in like other things in this movie we don't understand. That we fucking understand. You don't have to clarify how time and space work
Yeah, the
or how
phone
phones work. You
call.
should be
Yeah,
actually explain how phones work. I don't
yeah,
that I don't get.
the phone call was our connective tissue. We were all
Oh my
clear on
God.
what was happening
I
here.
cackled so hard at that fucking title card.
So a couple of people are trying to break into her apartment. She's like, "Oh shit." And she tries getting out this other way. She cuts her hand on her crystal doorknob, which
Oh
breaks.
God, I want the doors, Jeffrey. I want the doors. Well, now I feel like we're into act two. Like the first part of this movie is kind of like not bullshit, but kind of bullshit.
Yeah,
Like the bulk of this movie much closer to Suspiria, and it kind of starts now when it's like the building,
right.
the Rube Goldberg evil witch building of death, and I'm into it
Absolutely. Yeah.
because these doors are fucking awesome. The doorknobs fucking awesome. The lobby of the building fucking awesome. This is what I'm here for.
This movie's so beautiful. Like it's just every frame of painting's kind of got
Yeah,
that vibe to it, and
it
it's
looks nothing like New York City.
nope.
Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's like a Gaudi, like what you imagine like a Gaudi building would look like on the inside if it was like all done at Hot Topic,
Uh-huh.
you know?
Well, she's gonna slip out of this place. She's gonna leave trails of blood throughout the
Yep, bloody
hallway.
handprint.
Bloody
Sure.
handprint on the
Again, Hansel Gretel leaving
yeah.
little tracks, clues to just go off into wherever.
She goes down many stairs. We learn later that this is like the service stairwell,
Hmm.
so that's why it's all janky and gross and cobwebby. She finds her way into this cellar spacement space that is this recurring thing. Like I think this is intentional. At first I thought it was ludicrous, but I think what he's doing is making you confused about the size of the building.
Sure.
Right. So when I
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
there's a fifth floor, but there's clearly not a fifth floor
Yeah.
when you see the drawing, I think that's all intentional. I think
Yeah.
he wants you to, it's a TARDIS, like it's bigger on the
Yeah.
inside.
Absolutely. I
And
100% agree.
and every room and hallway you go through, you never have a sense of the map of this place.
Yeah.
The elevator rides are so long for a 4-story building.
Yeah. Like when Mark is like doing his like there's like balconies overlooking people's apartment buildings,
Right.
but also the basement,
Right.
but also the glass outdoor solarium that you can fall into later.
Yeah. And so I think that's the idea, and we really get the sense of that here when Rose is going down, down, and down, and
Yeah.
down. So many stairs. And She sees a shadowy figure. She sees two glowing green eyes, like human
Oh,
eyes in their
yeah.
structure, but like cat
Yeah.
eyes in the way that they're framed.
Love this. We need more of this.
Yes.
We need more of this. What we don't necessarily need more of
Yeah.
is it's raining and like doors are just opening in her face. Because this
Yeah.
happens like 3 times to this poor lady. And that's fine. I think it happens a couple times to Daria, my
Uh-huh.
mother Daria. And she's a good enough actress. She can like she has a reaction that's like really visceral and honest because I think she's just like a really great actor. But this poor actress, she just goes, "Oh, oh no." And it continues to happen. And even though she knows there's a killer behind her going through gauzy fabric that's all lit, all cool, she gets so scared at a cabinet door,
Uh-huh.
she goes back the way she comes. Girl, what?
The, the I will say in this movie in particular, I just don't think he's very good in this movie at building the tension of a horror scene.
Yeah,
It's so stylized and he falls back, and the reason why, what style over substance means is you're falling back in the substance, in the structure of the scene.
yeah,
You're falling back on the kind of lazy
yeah,
tropes of a woman being pursued.
yeah, yeah,
There's no creativity in the pursuit. There's a ton of creativity in the visual of it.
yeah,
But he just keeps falling back on like, oh, doors flying open, wind,
yeah.
there's a bird
Something
suddenly
scary.
out of
Again,
nowhere.
something's like
Yeah.
we're going through the bullet point checklist. What's scary? A loud noise in the dark. Okay, we're gonna have
You
one
know
of
what's
those.
scary is not understanding the how this building goes on
Yeah,
forever. You know
yeah.
what's scary is being just a woman in a dark space and seeing shadows and
Like a
hearing
six
voices
foot
of men.
figure. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that shit's really spooky, scary. And that's why the cat eyes thing was really cool because that's mixing the scare, the originality, and the visual, the beauty of it. Anyways, she gets suddenly grabbed from behind by the gnarled, non-black gloved hands,
Witch
and
finger.
Witchfinger grabs her, pulls her back, and then there's like a half window that he just slams over and over. It's like
Well,
a
well,
broken glass
it's
on
like a
this window.
guillotine. Well, first he's gonna put her neck on some exposed staples.
Oh,
Ew.
oh.
And then we see, and this is again, this is very typical of the Italian. It's like, okay, woman apparel, here we go. Something moving very slowly towards your face.
Yeah,
But in this case, it moves very slow. It moves so slowly, it doesn't even work.
yeah,
And so the witch hand is like, oh fuck, and has to reset it.
yeah.
Like, oh, this cool Rube Goldberg guillotine isn't working. So you know what? Bam, 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 bam. And just like microplanes her neck.
That's essentially it. What I'm saying is, it is safer to have a sharp knife than a dull knife.
Hmm
More kitchen
hmm
accidents happen with a dull knife than
Absolutely.
with a sharp knife.
Because you're putting so much effort,
Yeah,
you're gonna slice your thumb.
yeah. So he manages to not even like lop her head off.
I know. It like it kind of fades out on like it's you can see it cut through her neck. Cool visual.
Yeah, like half an inch into her
But
throat, and
it, this one doesn't do it for me as much.
no. No, I wanted for Rose, if we are gonna kill Rose, who I thought was
Like
our
it's
gonna be our
got
main
yeah, we think
character.
this is gonna be main character energy, right?
Yeah. I wanted more of a fight from her,
Hmm
and I wanted her death to be fucking cool as shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, he of course, Mark arrives back in New York.
Mark arrives the next morning, and we get introduced to like 6 characters.
Just out of nowhere.
Very, very Suspirious, very Suspiria.
Uh-huh.
In that, like, I think even some of the same actors from Suspiria. Someone's like chopping meat, but then kind of quickly hides it. We're like, oh, maybe they're again like implied
Yeah.
that they've eaten her. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Why don't we follow that lead? Nope, never going to talk about that again. Okay, never mind.
We do see where that meat goes, and it's being fed to the cats.
It's being fed to the cats,
Yeah.
slash also being made into hot dogs to sell in Central Park.
Yes. Is that the connection to the hot dog
I
vendor to the
think it
food
is.
truck?
I
Okay.
that's what I came up with.
I thought that was. We'll get to the hot
Feeding,
dog. We'll get to
feeding
the
it to
food
your
truck
witch
guy.
cats.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're a witch and you have cats, absolutely feed it the meat of your victims. That
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna meet. I think her name is Carol. She's basically
Yeah.
the
She's
the super, the
super.
concierge, the
She's the
super
super.
of this apartment building. And we're also gonna meet. Well, we're gonna meet the nun, but
Yeah, the
the
nurse
caretaker nurse,
and
nun
the old
nurse.
dude,
Uh huh.
the old geezer in a wheelchair.
Yes. And so she Carol is like, "Oh, hey, your Mark's your Rose's brother. Here's the key. Oh, just
Head
ride
on
up the
up.
elevator with these people." This old man.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I want to describe his movement. It's very funny because he kind of looks suspiciously at Mark. The nun nurse says, "Oh, he does that when he wants to say something." And then the old man just kind of like puts a decrepit finger and just like taps on the side of his Mark's leather
That means
briefcase.
he likes you.
I thought it was so funny. And then later, he was scratching hard because he wrote the word mater,
I know.
Mater.
Which Mark has no clue because the rest of the letter is a gone.
Mark
But it's
just
more
has no interest in
no.
reading
He doesn't
anything.
know. He's not here to learn or
No,
read.
he wasn't even in class to learn. Remember, he was
No, he
never on the
was
right
not.
page in his music. And
No. He is
yeah,
there to just bumble through this movie. But the dialogue from the fucking nurse, Jeffrey.
yeah.
What do you do? I'm a musicologist. Oh my God. I had an aunt who was into toxicology. She was the best. No, musicology. Well, I don't understand. What do you study? Music.
Uh huh.
Oh,
Uh. Oh, that's like your sister who does poetry. That's a pastime suited for women.
I know. I love it.
Oh my
Like,
God.
but I kind of love this, this kind of a misdirect of the sort of I think we got this in Deep Red as well. The kind of like slightly ditzy character, the like
Yes.
kind of spacey character. But in this case, it's like, oh my gosh, this person couldn't possibly be evil. Oh, just kidding. She's the most evil.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Pause. Hang on. I'm going to see if that will work. And if not, I may
Oh,
have to open the office to the child
oh,
because
are
he
we gonna
is.
put him in a bag?
Well, he sticks his. He now knows he can get his paw under the door, and then he
I
starts
they fucking
shaking the
love that
door.
shit.
And so we'll see. We'll see how far we get. Dirt bag.
I mean, listen, when I had a cat and the cat would meow to come in, I would just like quietly feed him treats underneath the desk
Oh yeah,
to
yeah.
shut. I was like, "You want to be in here? Cool. I'm going to keep you occupied with a kitty cat iPad while I record."
All right, so we're gonna we're gonna allow this shithead into the room now. 'Cause he's not gonna stop. So fingers crossed.
Just
We should
wants
all be good.
attention.
Yeah, he does. Okay, so Mark is now at his sister's place, but his sister's not there. But he is gonna meet this old man. He's gonna meet this nurse. He's gonna meet Carol, the
Oh,
superintendent,
yeah.
and he's also going to meet
Uh,
the Countess Elise de Longueval Adler.
uh, fucking Daria Nicolodi.
She's so great.
She's my favorite.
The
Like
people who
she's
live
my
in my
actual like she's the most underrated actor.
uh-huh.
And I blame the time and the place and like the fact that it's like behind every great man there's a more awesome woman
Yeah.
that does not get the fucking credit she deserves.
She's
Like
incredible in
she
this.
she has like it's weird, but she has almost like Barbara Streisand energy, if that
Uh-huh.
makes any sense.
Yeah, I can
Like,
see that.
because like think about like we saw her in Deep Red, and she's the kind of fast talking dame
Yeah.
character. In this, she's this like pale, tragic, rich countess who's very addicted to like morphium
Morphine.
like
Yeah.
morphine or something like that.
She's addicted to the Jared Leto film
She's
Morpheus.
addicted to Morpheus. No, she's addicted to the 90s band Morphium. Um, but like this is an actress with fucking range.
Uh-huh.
And in these wackadoo fucking movies, she's often the only one that is like an actual character.
Tragedy.
Oh
We have a
no.
cat who just got tied up in my headphone cord.
Oh good.
Oh. All right. Let me test. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
All
No,
right.
it never cut out or anything. It's fine.
I I started feeling my headphones tugging, and I thought I had caught it on my desk, and then I pulled on it, and he had the thing wrapped around like his under his shoulder and around his neck. Yeah.
Menace.
He was unhappy that I tried to untie
Took away
him.
his toy.
Yep. Yeah, she's amazing in this, and she kind of, yeah, she's this kind of like withered, not withered, but like sickly woman addicted to
Yeah.
morphine.
Very
Her
old money.
old money. Her husband travels. She's just home alone where she reads. She has a butler who runs her bath, gives her her
Yeah.
medicine.
She
That
walks
sort of
around
thing.
with no shoes and her fucking like blue velvet nightgown,
Yes.
living.
Yeah. Um. So let's get into Kazanian. All right. So
Oh, here we go.
one, the black glove person sneaks into the black glove goblin sneaks into Kazanian's shop, takes away his three other copies of the Three Mothers.
Look, they've been next door to you for 200 years, and now is today's the day. Okay, fine.
Okay, fine. Well, in the process of him investigating whether or not somebody was breaking into his place, he gets scratched by a cat in the dark.
Oh,
And a statue breaks, and he's like losing his fucking mind. Again,
yeah,
though, he's marked because he
yeah,
cut himself.
yeah. So
And
he
he,
goes over to talk to Carol, the caretaker, and he's like, "These cats, I know these cats are coming from your apartment building. I'm gonna do something about it." And she's like, "What are you gonna do?" She's like, "I'm gonna call the police or the
Board
mayor
of
or the
Health.
alderman or
Yeah.
and then like kind of scuttles on out.
Yeah. Well, he's going to go. We'll follow his trail and we'll get back to Elise and Mark because that meanders a lot. But
That's yeah.
okay.
It's the
Kazanian,
night of the full moon eclipse.
the full lunar eclipse.
Uh-huh. And which he tells Mark about
Hmm.
when Mark is trying to very my sister bought some books for you, some mysterious books about this building that you just happen to live right next to. Do you know anything about that? He's like, who the fuck are you? I don't know nothing about any woman. Have you heard about a lunar eclipse? It's a magical time. What the sir? On topic. Can we stay on topic?
Yeah. My sister's missing. I don't know. Call the cops like normal people. I have. They're
Yeah,
not
I did
helping.
that. Get the fuck out of my face.
Have you seen
Watch
the
the
lunar
lunar
eclipse?
eclipse. You're gonna find it. What also doesn't tell him what time it is. It's just like sometime tonight. It
Tonight.
could be at 4 in the morning. We don't know.
Who knows? This is pre Google. Nobody knew.
Nobody knew anything.
And Argento surely did not because we're going to see this lunar eclipse. Okay, so his plan is get all the cats together in a burlap sack.
Well, so he's like being chased down by a cat. He catches the cat. He's like, pretty cat, and like takes that cat. This is a real fucking cat. That cat is like scratching the fuck out of his hand, and we learn he has collected cats
Mm-hmm.
and put them in a bag in a trunk.
This man, I should say, Kazania is on a pair of crutches. The
Yeah.
idea is that he either has a degenerative muscular bone thing, or I don't know what his situation is, but he's got to carry a sack full of like 8 writhing cats
Yep.
while on 2 crutches that
Yep.
he walks from Riverside Drive to
Uh-huh.
Central Park.
Morningside Park would have been a much better option, but you don't have water in Morningside. Do you? I don't think you have water in
Maybe,
Morningside.
yeah.
The
It's
fountain, there's a
very
fountain that there's a fountain there, but it's not deep enough to drown some cats in. You got to go to Central Park.
yeah, and this is
Or,
very
I
clearly
don't
Central
know,
Park.
cross the street and drown them in the Hudson River.
Yes,
Just whoop, right on over.
the end.
Across the street.
I don't understand.
As opposed to going to like the Bow Bridge and it's like, and man, this scene takes 5 ever.
It takes so long, and it opens with him on top of a bridge overlooking the pond in Central Park.
I thought he was like, oh, he's going to drop those
Just
cats off the
drop them
bridge.
in, but no, he's got to walk down the bridge into the swampy area through some trees, get knee deep into this water.
When he's like, and because he's like, he tries to put the cat, he's like only like 12 inches into the water, tries to put the cats in, and he's I mean, this is the comedy here, the unintentional comedy, or perhaps intentional. I don't fucking
I don't
know.
know.
He's like poking these bag of cats with his crutch. And they're making this noise, and they kind of make a burbly noise, but they're not drowning. So then he has to take the bag and he like sort of kicks it further into the pond. There's a dude in a hot dog cart in the background we can clearly see.
Uh-huh.
So there's a sense of like, I'm doing something nefarious, I guess. But
Uh-huh.
he is unperturbed
Right.
about his nocturnal activities. That, oh, somebody might witness this.
Yep. Yeah.
Deeper into the pond he goes.
Yeah, and he finally gets the things to go under. When they go under, they go under.
Which,
Plummet.
again, cat Foley mixed with burbling Foley, comedy gold.
But then he like stumbles and falls and cannot get himself back up.
His crutch is right next to him, Jeffrey.
It's right. I can, and
Like-
also, how did you carry like like
Like
95
6?
pounds of cat
Yeah. 6 cats in a bag,
for
12 blocks
easy,
into the park, which is another 3 blocks.
which is huge.
Yeah.
The park is enormous. And how did you do all of that and you are incapable of getting yourself up if you fall? How do you get out of bed in the morning?
Yeah. He's-
Respect if you do have some difficulties in this matter, but I'm confused by the filmmaking of how he got all the way here but cannot lift himself up.
And this like one crutch completely disappears, never to be seen again.
Right.
One crutch is literally right next to his thigh. And he's like trying. Oh my God, Jeffrey, I'm going to describe this to you. He's on his stomach.
Uh-huh.
There's rats coming. Or there's just rats. They're not even coming. There's just somewhere in the world there are rats in a different shot.
Yeah.
And he tries pulling at his own pant legs
Uh-huh.
to move himself forward.
I did not understand that.
Like you're the object. You can't pull yourself forward. You need to pull yourself forward by putting your hands in the ground
Yeah.
and drawing the ground to do a little pull up
Yeah.
in the ground. You don't lift yourself up by lifting yourself up.
I really could not comprehend it. And then the lunar eclipse starts, and it is literally just a blacking out of the moon, which is not how that works.
How does it work then?
Well, you don't get a perfect like blackout of the moon. You
It's not, it
usually
doesn't
it
look like a
usually
solar eclipse, is what you're
no, it
trying to say.
usually just the moon turns red
Oh, that's kind of
because
cool. Oh, you're right. Yeah.
no, a lunar eclipse is not the same as the solar eclipse, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that one,
It's reflected light,
it's
right?
reflected light.
Yeah.
Two, it's the moon has this really unique. The moon and the sun, from our point of view, are so interesting because they're the exact same size in the sky, which is really crazy.
Mhm.
But it doesn't work the same with the Earth in front of the moon. And so what happens is there's still a lot of residual light from the Earth.
It just looks more fuzzy. It's not the clear
It turns fuzzy, it turns
outline. Yeah.
reddish, it just turns rust colored, right? It's a blood moon.
That's cool. That would
It's
look
cool.
cool.
It is really, really cool. I just thought it doesn't look like the solar eclipse, right? It's
Also,
anyways. I'm not
Jeffrey,
here to explain all the physics of it. I'm
no,
just
no,
saying
no, listen,
I've
thank you
seen a
for
lunar
clarifying.
eclipse.
I wouldn't have known that. I did not know that.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
My question is, if you're going to have a lunar eclipse
Uh-huh.
in a movie about witches, surely that lunar eclipse, that most magical time that
Uh-huh.
only happens every 85 years or whatever, would have something to do with the witches or the magic that the witches
It would
do.
be important to them.
But in fact, it's just when this old man is eaten to death by rats,
Yeah.
not even eaten to, but is like attacked by rats. And then somebody in a hot dog truck sees him
Uh-huh.
and starts running, runs over water, and stabs him in the fucking neck.
I didn't clock that he ran across the water. It
It's
looked like he ran around the pond.
it's it's what happened, but like apparently they put like a plexiglass thing
Oh,
underneath the pond, so it looks like he's running across
gotcha.
water. I kind of got that, but you're right. It looks like
Yeah,
he just
okay.
ran a different way around.
Yeah.
But then we have the most like human brutal death
Hmm.
that has nothing to do with an eclipse. That has
No.
nothing to do with witch shit.
No. I just thought this was a commentary on New York City, like that
Yeah, like New York City in the 70s.
that this guy was like, one, the heavy crime
Yeah.
in the 70s. Two, the idea that I'm a hot dog vendor, I can't be having rats, so I'm going to chop you up, push you over by the rats so the rats can eat you,
Yes.
so they'll leave my ass alone because
Okay,
I got
sure.
hot dogs to sell to the criminals who live here in Central Park.
I mean, it's this whole thing of like, who is working in this cabal of witches? Even the hot dog vendor. Because we see the hot dog vendor just like chopping up meat willy-nilly style, which I'm like, I don't think that's how you make hot dogs in a cart.
Yeah.
Like they don't make the
What's
hot
he
dogs in the cart.
Now my question was that a hot dog truck or is that just like a deli truck, right? Like where they just make you like a grilled sandwich out of a
Yeah,
truck.
something like that. Like it's
Yeah.
not the little hot dog push cart. It's like a
No.
food truck.
Yeah, so I felt like it was just like a food. We just made like tacos and shit here.
But it's
Um,
just the randomness of like
in Central Park? In a
anybody could kill you at any moment.
uh
The mother of the three mothers can affect anybody at any time.
yeah.
Who's on your side? Like unless they're related to you or they're Daria Nicolodi, they're probably going to try and kill you.
Yep. So, man, this is just the most astoundingly like strange script I think we've encountered on this show. Like
Yeah, one of.
it's so hard to make sense out of it. So let's go back to Mark and Elise.
Okay.
There's no streamlining of how they figure anything out.
No.
They can't have just seen, hey, where's Rose? I haven't heard from her. I just called her last night, flew
Yeah.
back today. What's the deal? We can't just notice that there's blood on
No.
the carpet. We have to have this long ordeal. Hold on. City emergency. Continue on. You can cover for me here.
So like Elise, even she kind of we see the little droplets of blood that we know are blood, and she steps in them and she goes home that night and she's gotten shot up with morphine by her creepy Italian butler. And I think somebody even said, they're like, oh, what is that blood? She's like, no, it's just paint. But then an hour and a half later, she's like, blood.
It is blood on my foot. What?
What? Did you did you think that carpet's made of paint? I mean,
I,
I like see, there's so many things that I love about it. Like the fact that the entire apartment building is decorated in red and black
yes.
because red hides the blood.
Yeah.
So it's like there's something like even the interior design is like out to get you.
Yeah.
But it's kind of how these numbskulls react to everything that just makes me go, "Oh, come on, you
That's
guys, pull it
That's
together."
what I mean. It's like there's just no like streamlining that would happen in like a second or third draft of a
Yeah.
script. And so they also have this other thing wherein there are these empty pipes that connect every fucking
Yes.
apartment so anyone can hear what anyone else is saying at
Yeah.
all times, which one, maddening.
Like whisper chambers built
Yeah.
into every single apartment building or every single apartment.
And two, it because Elise tells Mark this being like, this is how Rose and I could communicate through these tubes. And they they absolutely are trying to have conversations about the conspiracy of what's
Yeah.
happening in this building out loud where
Yeah.
everyone can hear them talking about
Yeah.
it.
Knowing the fact that like why don't you all go, I don't know, do like a spy movie and just like walk half a block down the street and sit on a park bench,
Or
of which New York City is famous for.
or refined this notion that it's connected by tubes. Like they
Yeah.
make it sound like every apartment has these tubes that everyone can. That's a whole other horror movie where
Oh
you can
yeah.
hear
Well, I
what
mean, this
everybody
is
says all
like,
the time.
I mean,
But
it's kind of
two,
more into the
could you
Roman Polanski, the like Rosemary's Baby, The
totally?
Tenant, the horror of modern living trilogy that Roman Polanski made, which is like, who really lives next to you?
Yeah,
Do you really know the people that you're living next to?
yeah. But they don't really. My thought was, as a writer, I just kept getting so frustrated that they
Yeah.
couldn't refine this tube. I thought that's a neat idea that maybe they discovered that these empty pipes were never filled and they just happened to connect their two apartments.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
the
yeah.
two of them could always talk to each other
Yeah.
privately. I just thought that would be I don't could be or it needs to be
Could be
cut.
it.
It
Or
kind
just
of
cut it
doesn't go
all.
anywhere.
Because like later they're having this conspiracy conversation and we get a POV cam of just an air vent. We don't know who it is, we don't know why, but it's like almost like somebody's like creeping up on an air vent. Is it the
And
mother? Is it Carol?
and
Is
what
it
makes us think they need to eavesdrop through those pipes when it's very clear they know what you're doing and where
yeah,
you are at all times? They're fucking witches.
yeah. They killed your sister
Yeah.
and they don't give a fuck. They didn't even clean it up.
No.
Or maybe they did and they turned it into cat meat
Yep. Yep.
to
Taco
feed their
truck.
witch cats.
So basically, once they figure out the blood, Mark is going to go down the service stairwell while Elise stays upstairs. But Elise realizes there's blood prints in her apartment. So then she's going to run down after Mark.
Yeah.
I
Again, the whole
just,
thing of like, I'm going to stay here. I'm scared for
yes.
like a minute. And they'd be like, no, I'm coming with you.
Yeah.
But by then it's way too late.
Again, the hooded figure. Okay,
Yeah.
one, Mark opens some vent that makes him ill from the
He's
stench.
being bewitched again.
Yes. So he passes out. This hooded figure is dragging him away, but then it notices Elise. So it comes for her. She gets attacked by a pile of cats.
Oh
Uh huh.
my God. Like just cat after cat being thrown at this woman from off screen
Yeah.
over and over and over again. And that's how she dies.
Well, and then the last shot is we see the gloved hand come down with the knife on it.
Okay, we do see a knife,
Yeah.
but we've got death by rats and a knife. We've got death by cats and a knife.
Uh
Cake Shop has everything.
huh. The cake factory.
Cake Factory has
Uh
everything.
huh.
But that's the end of Elise. And then we kind of get this weird double conspiracy where it's like now Carol the caretaker and the nurse see Mark. He's kind of stumbled his way into the lobby and they're like, "Oh, you look sick." And he's like, "My heart." They're like, "Oh no, your heart. Here, drink this water. This will make you feel better."
It's
And then he
heart
passes the
medicine.
fucking, "What? No, that's fucking water.
Yeah,
That is a glass of water. You can't
it's.
fool me."
I think it's gin. It's Old Tom
It's, I
gin.
was gonna say it's vodka or it's water.
Yep.
And he just passes the fuck out. So, okay, cool. Double conspiracy. John the butler and Carol are in cahoots to steal Elise's jewels.
Uh huh.
So they do this whole thing of like, oh, we found her jewels and her money. She buried them in the floorboard. Now it's our turn to live like princes. But then, literally 30 seconds later, they both die
Yeah.
by their own fucking hands.
Well, he. Okay, so yeah, the
Right?
butler shows Carol all the money and jewels that
Yeah.
he found, and she's like, "Okay, now you
I'm going to
just have
take
to."
these downstairs or
Yeah.
something.
Well, she's like, "You need to go. I'll
Call the
put this with our
husband.
stuff. You go call her husband. Well, tell her she left town and isn't coming back. What if she does? Oh, she won't, because
How
she
do you
already
know she
knows.
won't? She won't.
So then, and then Carol is like, now we're going to live it up like all the
Yeah.
other rich bastards. Like it's the I don't know what's
Class
happening with these
warfare of
characters.
this
Yeah,
movie? I don't know. I don't know.
but the witches, I guess, Tenebrarum or whoever is like onto their trick. He doesn't come back downstairs. Carol goes up looking for the butler, and he is. She just finds him sitting on a chair with his eyes gouged out and his neck cut.
Yeah. Well, no, it's I think he's like strangled, maybe, and his eyes are
Okay.
poked out. But again, it's like, why is the witch killing? It's like she's just on a killing spree. Like Mother Tenebraeum is just on a fucking bloodlust killing spree. Like she's no longer killing people that are trying to find out about her witch cabal. She's actually now like just killing any old
She's
person.
like drawing more attention to her witch cabal
Yeah,
because there's a lot of missing people at this one apartment.
yeah. And Carol holding a single candle gets so surprised by seeing the dead body of John, she drops the candle.
Uh huh.
And then the most improbable fire ever begins.
I almost did my intro on fire safety because this makes this was where I was like, I can't take this movie anymore. Like I love it. It's so
It's
gorgeous, but
so
it's
pretty.
so stupid.
Like the candle, okay, there's like blue velvet curtains.
Uh-huh.
Love
Gorgeous.
the blue velvet curtain. Gorgeous
Beautiful.
everywhere. She drops the candle onto a blue velvet curtain.
Okay.
One, two, a small fire starts. Three, she steps on it twice. It does not go out. The curtain falls to the ground. Four, every curtain in the room is now on fire, even
Uh-huh.
though they are 10 feet apart.
Right?
Five, she pulls the curtain down and it falls on top of her
Uh-huh.
on fire,
Amazing.
kind of the opposite of a stop, drop, and roll. It's
Uh-huh.
the like stop, pull the fire to you, and she backs out of a window that leads down into a glass ceilinged solarium on fire in a curtain that she started herself.
Unbelievable.
Six,
Okay.
six.
Yes. Bring it.
The entire building is now on fire from this like from a fire the size of a small house plant that could have been stopped if you had not pulled the fire on top of you
Yeah.
and spread it throughout the building.
It's unreal. I just have a whole line of my notes that's just LOL. I laughed so hard
And I
during
was
this.
like, like unless there's some sort of like, I mean, yeah, yes, maybe those curtains are polyester. Maybe they were doused in petroleum.
Yeah.
Maybe like I've seen videos of Christmas trees going up in flame because we've all watched that video on YouTube and how terrifying that is.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's like those Christmas trees that are just like made of the most flammable shit on earth. But I still feel like the entire surroundings would not be on fire.
No. No. And also this I not knowing what a lunar eclipse looks like is no shade because they're fairly rare, and to get a full
I
lunar
didn't know.
eclipse, yeah, who knows? Not knowing how fire works, and it's not just how quickly it spreads or how
Hmm.
stupidly Carol reacts to it, which is to pull flaming curtains down on herself. But like later, we watch Mark running through burning
Yeah,
buildings with all of the doors closed. Sir, you're dead. Because usually what kills you in a fire
smoke.
is the smoke.
Yeah,
You lose all of your oxygen. Fire eats all of the oxygen.
yeah,
That's what it is. That's what is
yeah.
burning. The wood is not burning. The oxygen is burning. So,
But that doesn't look as cool,
no,
Jeffrey.
to have him choke out and die.
To just be like crawling on his hands and knees like
Mm-mm.
they teach you with a wet rag over your mouth.
Uh-huh.
No, we have to have him running through hallways of just like plexiglass exploding
Random flaming lumber falling from the sky.
like there's fucking gas pockets in a
Uh-huh.
swamp.
Again,
So
very stylish, very cool,
while this is going on,
right?
Mark is looking at some ants.
He's staring at ants. Then he turns and just stares at the picture of the apartment building on Rose's wall. And he stares at the ants again and stares at the picture. And he's like, what was that saying in her letter that I found? Oh, the
Under
key
the
is under the
feet, under the soles of the
soles of your
feet.
shoes. Oh, well, wow, look, there seems to be a very tiny hole in the floor that the ants are coming out of. Let me just dig up the floorboards with her book knife.
Girl, you ain't getting that deposit back.
No, you are not. And he does. And then to help clarify for him
Hmm.
what's happening, because he not only pulls up the floorboards, but then is using like a fire poker or something
I think it's like
to
a coat hanger that he
no no no
undoes.
no 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 to chip away the concrete.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right.
I didn't, I'm not even getting to the coat hanger. That takes too long.
Yeah.
And so he's like chipping away, makes a hole.
He's making a human-sized
It's
hole.
confused about what to do with this hole, and then suddenly a cat comes in through his open window,
Yes.
dives into the hole, and he's like, "Oh, you can go down the hole."
I should go into I wait. The cat goes in the hole.
So I
I
can
go in the hole.
So he goes in the hole and he finds kind of this like a House of Leaves sort of secret
Yeah.
space in the space between the floors.
Crawl
So it's
space.
a gorgeous crawl space. It's a little dusty, but
Not
it's
before.
beautiful.
Wait, but not before he reaches his hand in and finds a scroll
Oh no! Yes, yes, yes. Of course.
literally underneath the hole he just made. What's
Even though
this
that
scroll?
crawl space goes on the length of the building.
Oh yeah. But underneath this hole that he's just created by random happenstance, he finds a scroll that is brand spanking new with a little ribbon tied that's like, I, the architect of evil Vatelli, have made this building. Do not tell anyone how the building works. And he just, because he hasn't watched the movie, and these characters literally don't speak to each other about what the fuck is happening. He
No,
just tosses it to the fucking side, never to be spoken of again.
ditched. We're done.
Clue thrown away.
Well, and also, it's sort of implied that he has no idea what it says
No.
because it's written in Latin.
And also, his sister never told him. He never read the letter about the architect.
He didn't know shit about what's going on. He just found a scroll. Is like, okay,
I mean, maybe he did know that the book his sister was looking for is written by, but he literally just is like, oh, look, a clue, and then just pitches it over his shoulder.
I have no idea how he knows anything is happening. This character just doesn't have really any opportunity to understand anything other than where's my sister?
Yeah, that's
What
it.
is happening? Which is a totally fine motivation,
Yeah,
but he's finding a scroll, he's digging up holes, like he's about to go find the architect, which was the old man in the wheelchair.
this reveal.
Okay. Well, he manages to find himself up high in an atrium
It's like a
overlooking.
lofted building.
Yeah.
So he's in the loft of the old the old man's thing, and we see the nurse kind of go into another room, and the old man sees him when he's like, "Oh no, I've been spotted, so I'm gonna go after him, even though I'm in his apartment."
Yeah. And he's being, maneuvered by the nurse lady. And anyways, he manages to get down there to talk to the guy, and the guy's like, shut up, follow me in here. Follows him back to his office.
His
Or
hi-fi system.
he's got a hi-fi system. He's got like a vocoder,
Yeah,
but the vocoder renders a really good sounding.
it really does.
It sounds really good
And I
for
love the fact that
1980.
it's like, shh, come with me, quiet, quiet, quiet finger. The nurse might hear you. And then there's like six fucking speakers. He's like, we must be quiet so no one will hear us.
Yes.
Girl, that nurse is a room away. You made this building, so you know every fucking thing that can be here. You know you're literally sitting on top of a witch.
Yeah.
You know that your nurse is a witch.
And how does
Let
she
me
not
tell you
know?
a secret. Please be quiet so no one can hear our secret.
And how does the witch not know Mark is there? She knows every fucking move that everybody else makes.
Well, she's just standing on the other side of a door.
Right. How could she possibly know?
And then like the old man tries to, oh, this you're gonna love this one.
Uh-huh.
The old man tries to, please come closer so I can whisper to you my secret in the loudest voice ever. Mark gets a little bit, why are you scared of an old man? Mark gets a little bit closer. The old man tries to jab him with a syringe.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's creepy. Two things happen, which are amazing.
Right?
One, the man gets pushed back and garrots himself on his microphone cord
Mm-hmm.
and is just dangling by the cord, by the aux cord. Meanwhile, Mark, rattlesnake John Wayne Western, sucks the poison out of his arm.
Uh-uh.
Is that real? I mean, I remember learning about like you can suck. I think it is. You can learn. I learned about this
Yeah.
in Boy Scouts. If you get bitten by a snake, you can. If you have like within the first 30 seconds before
Yeah.
it gets into your bloodstream, you can do this.
There's a rattlesnake bite kit, or at least when I was in the 80s. I remember people in my family up in Idaho being into camping, and I remember finding a rattlesnake kit, and I opened it, and it was like a little like egg-sized piece of like green rubber, but you separated it, and inside it had a couple little things, like it had like a little tiny like X-Acto knife blade
Oh
sort of
yeah,
thing
because
that
you
kind
have to
of
cut. That's
cut
right. You have
cut
to kind of
around.
like cut the wound
And then the
and then
the rubber egg part of it, what you did was you put it over the bite, pinched, and then you let it go, and it kind of sucked things out of there. Because the thing about sucking it with your own mouth is that's just going to get into your mouth, and that's going to get into your
well, we
bloodstream.
see him spit it out.
Oh,
So
true, totally true.
so he's like, "Puh, puh, puh."
Anyway,
Ew, it tastes like old man murder.
but Mark sucks the poison out. He picks Varelli up, like undoes his vocoder cord, but then the guy can talk without the vocoder.
He's like, we are being watched.
And then he's like, and to them, you're nothing but dust. And Mark's like, fine. I'm glad those are your last words.
Great.
See
That
you
helped
later.
me not at all. But he sees there's a figure, shadowy figure that he decides to run after. And we get to
Creepy room after creepy
like
room.
Castle Grayskull is the only thing
Oh
I can describe
yeah.
it as.
Yeah.
Like it's like an opera set.
Legends of the Hidden Temple. Like
Yeah.
it's wild.
Like it's like a stage. It looks very soundstage. It's kind of
Yeah.
cool, but he goes through that and then he gets to another opulent, gaudy Art Nouveau set piece.
Uh-huh.
And we know that this is clearly we've reached, again, like Suspiria, like this is the room where the head witch lives.
Yes.
And surprise, surprise,
It's the nurse.
it's the nurse.
So again, the script is just trying to get us to these cool visual
Yeah.
points. And we have this cool visual thing where she's standing in profile talking to Mark, and we see in the background her reflection. And there's a moment where her in the foreground, she disappears, but the reflection stays. Kind
Even
of
though
neat.
she's saying, I don't do magic. I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing is magic.
I don't
Reality is
understand.
nothing. Everything is nothing. Nothing is everything. Goodbye. We.
We are the three sisters, but people call us by a different name. It's a name I cannot tell you. Actually, I can. It's death. Like,
And then a fucking skeleton
she,
bursts through that window or bursts through that mirror
uh-huh.
and does absolutely nothing.
It does nothing.
Except,
Like, it is the most, like, Party City skeleton wearing a robe
yeah.
you've ever seen.
Like I've been in haunted houses that have betters. Like Hell House LLC had better effects than
Oh,
this.
way better.
But it's not even, listen, I don't mind the cheapness of it. It's just that it doesn't do anything. It's just like,
That's the
boo, a
problem.
skeleton.
I
And then
think
the
he
entire
thinks
building falls in on top of the skeleton, and Mark just like walks away.
Yeah, he walks away, and the final shot is Mater Tenebrarum, like, arms up, just screaming as the fire engulfs and the building collapses. And there was no battle, there was no final
No.
boss battle.
No.
And I think Argento is, like, anchoring his movie on these really cool visual elements. Some of them are just vibes, some of them are really neat visuals, but this is not a cool visual at the end.
Yeah.
It's a Party City Halloween skeleton.
Yeah.
And it looks like your neighborhood, haunted house.
It's
sort
like
of effect.
it's like this, it's like a skeleton mask with like a little bit of a breastplate with like a cloak over top of it.
Yeah, maybe it is Skeletor. Maybe it is like
A bit Skeletor.
yeah,
And it's also like it's interesting before the witch transforms.
sure.
She even says she's like everything is burning down like it had before. So we get this idea that they are eternal. She doesn't give a fuck about fire. She doesn't get so this whole thing like these buildings that were created don't even matter to them. So like everything's going to burn down, but they're still going to exist. But it's also like, well, I don't know. That just seems low stakes to me. Like,
Yeah,
okay, cool. You don't care. You're just going to stand there. Also, here's this dude who's just trying to find his lost sister. He doesn't even know that his sister's dead. Nobody ever actually says to him, what the fuck happened? Why she nothing. He's like, oh no, a scary skeleton, and runs the fuck out the door.
yeah,
The entire building is on fire, which is how we get the title Inferno.
right.
End
The
credits.
And he saves it. He saves it with the rock opera
Oh
from
my god.
Goblin.
I see a little sinner, Mother Tenebraeum, Mother Tenebraeum.
Oh,
Mother
it's so
Tenebraeum.
good. This song appeared earlier in the movie, just a bit
Oh.
earlier when he was found the crawl space.
Why are you saving this until the 11th hour, Argento? This shit should have been throughout.
I really wish Goblin had written a rock opera in the style
God.
of Queen Night at the Opera, right?
Yeah.
Like I just wish they had done this movie in that style.
I mean, I love Goblin, and I love like this.
Oh,
The
I do too.
Goblin didn't necessarily do the music for this. There was
Oh, they
like,
didn't. Okay.
but it because it doesn't really have that like banging synth that we get in like
No, I just
Demons or
there's
things like
just
that.
these two. There's this song and the
But
song
this
that plays
song,
when Sarah's in the cab earlier that sounded so Goblin
yeah,
to
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Oh my
But
god.
this song is, I was like, where have you been hiding this jewel of like Queen Bohemian Rhapsody chorus,
Right.
but with Mother like me, Mother to the Bram.
Um
Oh, oh, oh.
yeah, this is he
And that's the end of
chose
the movie.
Keith Emerson, who is a prog
Yeah.
rock guy, to
Oh,
do the
yes.
soundtrack because he wanted. Oh, here's the quote on Wikipedia. He chose Keith Emerson because Dario Argento, quote, wanted a different sort of score than what Goblin did on Suspiria. He wanted a more delicate score. What?
Oh, delicate? Oh,
Oh, that was not achieved, my friend.
oh, delicate.
See, this movie shook my confidence in Argento because I'm all for how funny this movie is and also how beautiful. I mean, like when he really
It,
finds the visual,
yeah,
it's gorgeous. The
like
style,
the lighting in every single shot. Like
perfect.
there's some like the peach and blue, so like the colors are mesmerizing.
But like the misses that he has.
Oh my God.
Like I'm just trying to imagine, can you imagine that? Think about how great Tom Brady was as a quarterback and the number of big games he won and the big beautiful passes he made. But think about what if every time he didn't complete a pass, it was because he like farted and tripped and fell down and upchucked on his shirt. Would he still be as great?
Yeah.
Because the misses in this movie are really bad. And the
Yeah.
idea that he thought this score was more delicate than what
Yeah.
Goblin did for Suspiria
Now,
indicates he may not have the
counterpoint.
best choice. Like,
Counterpoint.
mm,
Dario Argento was actually extremely ill when he made this movie.
oh shit, I just stepped in a bear trap, didn't I?
No, no, no,
Damn it.
no. I mean,
Okay.
it's like he has said that the experience of making this movie was the worst experience of his life because he was really sick with hepatitis. And
Oh
so,
no.
actually, Bava did half lighting, camera, direction, like even directing the actors. So it has this, I think it has this weird fractured, it's not as complete as
Mhm.
Suspiria because essentially it had two directors
Yeah.
because Argento was in the fucking hospital for half of it.
Oh man.
And so it has this like, it doesn't have that through line of like, well, now we're just being jerked over here. Oh no, we're in a different movie. Now we're in a movie where there's a woman with us hanging from the ceiling that we'd never meet again because there was no hand on the rudder, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Like,
Totally. Totally.
and you have two awesome Italian horror filmmakers, but it's going in a million different directions at once because of that.
Yeah. Well, and also just thinking about that they both love the over stylized
Yeah.
thing. And I think they both love camp. I think that's what was sort of frustrating me here, which was I don't think the campy moments in Inferno understood the camp level. And
Yeah.
it makes a lot more
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sense when the guy whose whole vision this movie the guy who had the vision for this movie was incapable because of medical
Right.
worries, medical
And also
conditions.
Daria wrote the script
Yeah.
based on her idea.
Yeah.
And you know that these two men just walked all over they're like, I don't know, plot schmott, word schmerds, whatever. We just need to get them down a spooky hallway filled with fabric and peach lights.
Yeah, just get to the plot points. And to be fair, still a really enjoyable watch.
I mean, it's a fun one to revisit.
Yeah. Shall we rate this movie?
Yes, let's.
How approachable is this movie if you're horror film averse on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the least approachable, 10 being super approachable? I'd give Inferno like, let's say like 4 out of 10 minutes underwater. It's
livable minutes underwater.
Yeah, livable minutes underwater. I don't, like I said before, it's not scary, but it does have a couple of jump scares. I think it's just, it's gruesome. Like when it gets to the deaths, it's grotesque. Like the
Yeah.
whole rat scene and the neck chopping and the eye gouging and stuff. And it's, again, if you have watched these types of practical
Like
effects,
it's not as bad as like Zombie,
no.
but it's probably worse than like, like the black and white stuff, you
Yeah.
know?
And it's a lot. That's it. I just think, I think it has like kind of a viciousness to the kills that I think is really clever and cool at times, but also it's vicious, it's grotesque. And uh and content warnings for animal cruelty and animal, lots of animal death, and, and there you go. So to speak nothing of approachability, Cecil, how do you rate this as a horror film?
As a horror film, like I said, it's very fractured because it's at the same time makes very little sense.
Yeah.
So if you're one of those people that wants logic, this is not the movie for you, perhaps.
Mm-mm.
But if you're the kind of person that can like lump it and be like, I don't know, let's see what happens. Oh my God, look at all these rats that come out of nowhere. This is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Then this is a great movie. Like this is like probably like, I think it's on like some like top 100 films, horror films of all time because it is so creative in the vibe.
Yes.
But the structure, the script, I think this movie does like I love it when it kicks into the second act of this movie, which is the sort of like labyrinth-esque. Once you're inside the building, the characters are wild. The
Yeah.
logic is wild. So for that, I don't know, like 6 out
Sure.
of 10 cats in a bag.
How long can cats hold their breath underwater?
I,
That's the question.
I don't know, a long time, especially when you don't put anything in there to sink them.
No.
I was like, that bag of cats is just going to float away, Jeffrey.
Yeah. Until it
Oh, no,
doesn't,
it sank.
for no
Oh,
reason.
okay.
Yeah.
You got to explain to us how telephones work,
Yeah.
but you don't explain how gravity works. Okay, cool.
Well, let's figure out what movie we are going to watch next. You've got a scare die. I've got a style die. We will roll those up and see what movie matches those two things. Cecil, on your scare die, if you roll a 1, our scare is technology. 2, a wild card. 3, conspiracy. 4, Mother Nature. 5, demonic. Or 6, a zombie.
That's a 5.
We just got that demonic on the list. Let's take it off. Let's match demonic to the style I roll. If I roll a 1, it's got to be a black and white film. If I roll a 2, a one-word title. 3, it's got to be a sequel, prequel, or remake. 4, it's got to be campy. 5, it's got to be a found footage movie. Or 6, it's got to be from a country in the EU. I got a 2, one-word title. We finally got the one-word title.
How long has this been on the
This
grid?
has been on the list for 22 weeks.
Oh my
that
God.
one-word title has been on here since we've rolled that 2.
It's ready to be born.
It is. Well, we're going to have a lot of options for a demonic one-word title, I think. We wrote down a few on our list, but we also have a Letterboxd account. We're at Random Horror 9 there. You can check out our lists, and it shows you all the possible die roll matchups for our show, and you can leave comments telling us movies you think we should do. So let me tell you the one-word title demonic pictures we wrote down, Cecil, and then you can tell me about the ones over on Letterboxd. Okay, so Immaculate from 2024.
I've not seen this one.
This is another like super intense. I think a little much. It is dramatic. It is okay. So this is Sydney Sweeney's picture. She didn't direct it, but she produced it. She was a real champion to get this thing made. Nun in a conspiracy of nuns, and there's a secret relic that is bringing back the Antichrist that has to be born unto her through a virgin birth. And yes,
like I've heard a lot about this movie is the kind of wave of like like movies that could possibly be nominated for awards in 2024.
Yeah, I don't think it ever quite achieved that, but I
Yeah.
love Sydney Sweeney's energy that she
Okay.
gives to this part. I think it's really fun. It's really
Cool.
cool. Would be interested to revisit it. Another movie that we wrote on here, late 90s, early aughts, Constantine.
Sure. Lots of demons.
Lots of demons.
A very not British Keanu Reeves fighting demons in Los Angeles. I mean, the cast is amazing. The visuals are pretty cool.
Hmm.
It's a fun one. I've seen this movie quite a bit, but I've, as I've said, as somebody who likes Constantine and Hellblazer, it's very much not the comics.
Yes. Another movie is Sinister from
Yeah.
2012. This is an Ethan Hawke joint.
This movie is scary as fuck, Jeffrey.
Oh, okay. I like
Like,
that.
it's one of those, this is one of those movies that I think I actually had to hit pause and turn off because it was so
Whoa.
intense for a while. And then later I watched it again during the daytime. I was like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought, but
Okay.
it's pretty fucking intense.
Yeah. This is about finding like snuff films, right?
Yeah.
And then there's some crazy other bullshit happening in
Yeah.
the house.
There is something like demonic about it as well.
Also from 2024, Long Legs. Listen,
You
coming
and I
off
have
of,
both seen this movie now, and I think this would be an interesting one to unpack on the show
I think it
because
would
it's
too. Having just watched Inferno, though, like it's all of the script implausibility with none of the style.
yeah. Oh, girl, that's them's his fighting words.
It's not none of the style. It has some style.
It has pictures of Bill Clinton in it.
It does. Here's another one. Sorry, I just kind of leaked a little bit of my hard hard opinions about that poor movie. Another one is this German film called Lutz.
I don't know this
LUC.
one.
I don't either. I just know I see this poster a lot with like
Yeah.
soul sucking, white eyed demon.
So lose a cab driver drags herself into the brightly lit entrance of a police station, and a demonic entity follows her, and that's it.
Yeah.
It could go anywhere from there.
Another one is Devil. People on an elevator that's stuck. One of them is the devil.
It's
This-
like the worst escape the room ever, and essentially it becomes a game of werewolf.
Uh-huh.
Where one of them's the devil, but everybody's trying to convince everybody else that they're not the devil. I remember
Yes.
liking this one a lot.
I've heard good
Or-
things about it.
No. I remember liking this one and just being like, oh, what a cool idea. Cool. And and then you go, awesome. That was a movie.
Yep, yep. Another one I put on here is Smile.
Sure.
Since the topic is demonic, we definitely get the demonic
Yeah.
element of
Yeah.
that very clearly. I think maybe you put this on here, Ghoulies.
Ghoulies. I was like, they're demons. They're little tiny. They're
They
little
are.
tiny.
They are. Yeah.
Demon. And also, the thing about Ghoulies is that we had camp on there, and Ghoulies is a very campy movie, and I was like, they're
Yes.
campy
Yeah.
demons. Come on.
Yeah. Well, let's see what people on Letterboxd had to add to this. What do people have to say, Cecil?
Andy recommends Azrael from 2024, a almost completely silent movie about
Yes.
a demonic post-apocalypse.
This looks
Samara
really interesting.
Weaving does her best attempt at her scream without having any vocal cords. Sounds interesting. I've not heard of this.
This is on Shudder. It does sound really fast. It's a great premise. It's such an interesting premise. But apparently there's almost no dialogue, if any at all, in this movie because
interesting.
it is a cult that believes in silence.
Oh.
So it's about, I think it was Joseph that was telling me about it becomes a little bit about how you communicate things without words.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, it does sound really fascinating. Neat device.
Let's see. Monstrum, Second Smile and Sinister, King and Commander recommends Deathgasm from 2015.
Wait, can you take that again
to-
for King and Commoner?
Wait, what?
King and Commoner.
King and Commodore? What did I say?
You said King and Commander.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
King and Commodore. Anyway, they recommend Deathgasm from 2015. Two teenage boys unwittingly summon an ancient evil entity known as the Blind One by delving into black magic while trying to escape their mundane lives. And also Jerusalem. Young Harley is having a dream birthday, and his family are going to watch the taping of his favorite show, but the dream becomes a nightmare when the animatronic starts to turn homicidal.
Hmm.
Invisible Orange, Seconds Long Legs. Cronenberg TA recommends Baskin. Again, this is another one that I keep hearing about.
Yeah.
I don't know if this one's available. We'd have to do a double check. A Turkish film about a squad of unsuspecting cops go through a trapdoor to hell where they stumble upon a black mass in an abandoned building. Gosh, I hate it when that happens. This is a hard one on the Sasha scale, Cronenberg TA said. So upsetting, I had to stop watching it halfway through. Enjoy!
Okay, great. It is on Shutter, so there's
Okay, no,
that.
I've heard this one. This one's come up quite a bit of like some like intense horror movies made in the last few years. Fifth Hammerer recommends Fallen from 1998. After the execution of a serial killer, Detective Hobbs, played by Denzel Washington, and his partner, played by John Goodman, are investigating a murder whose MO is the same. Oh no! And theology professor theorizes that an evil spirit is responsible.
Okay.
So like I've never seen this, but I remember like a lot of movies kind of post Silence of the Lambs, kind of cop procedural FBI serial killer, but with a demon twist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Weaponized Toaster recommends Sator from 2019. Secluded in a desolate forest, a broken family is observed by the demon called Sator, who is attempting to claim them. Oh, Sator. Also, Nefarious from 2023. Scheduled execution, a convicted serial killer tells the psychiatrist that he's a demon who can possess his body. And
Great.
as the evaluation ends, he also tells the doctor that he will soon commit 3 murders of his own. Man, these demons just giving away their
I know.
plots. Just being like, here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it. They also recommend Siren from 2016. This one's come up a few times. The bachelor party becomes a savage fight for survival when the groomsmen unwittingly unleash a fabled predator upon the festivities. Spoiler alert, it's a Siren from VHS. Yeah, we watched that one, right?
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
It's
Yes,
kind
I
of
do
like
remember
that
that. Yeah.
short from VHS,
Yep,
kind
I
of
do remember that.
expanded.
Yeah.
I also hear it's kind of low key a musical, I think.
No, isn't that
Or is that
lore?
oh, that's lore. Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm conflating my siren
Yeah, yeah.
my siren horror films. Pie Mag recommends Aramentari, a Spanish Basque language film based on a folktale about a demon being held captive by a blacksmith. This
Okay.
looks really interesting. And they also say it looks like English marketing sometimes gives it a subtitle or multi-word title, but the Basque poster just says Ementari.
Yeah.
I think I have this under here under period piece because it looks very like Dark Ages demon.
Yeah, this is let's see. It is on Netflix right now. It's called The Blacksmith and the Devil,
That's
Aramentari.
it. Yeah.
1843,
Yeah.
Basque country, Spain
That
is
sounds
where it
kind of
takes
cool.
place. Yeah, that's fun. Not seen a Basque film before,
I know,
I
right?
don't think.
Ace Diamond has a couple of them, so I'm going to run through these quickly. Veronica,
Sure.
Ouija board accidentally summons a demon. Absentia, after being declared an absentia, man stumbles home traumatized, and oh, there's a demon. 1408,
Sure. Talked about that before.
demonic hotel. I think it's more of a ghost hotel, but that's just me.
Hmm.
Witchboard, oops, we've summoned a demon with Witchboard.
Yep.
Evil Speak, oop, we've summoned a demon with a book. And
Uh-huh.
Deathgasm, oops, we've summoned a demon with a song.
Yep.
Just to run through that there. Robert Barons recommends Demon from 2015. This is a really good one. I love this film. A Polish
Okay.
wedding is invaded by a Dybbuk with a score to settle.
Haven't really covered the Dybbuk on this show before, so that's interesting.
Very like anti-horror horror film. Like it's like almost more drama with a
Okay.
supernatural element, but it's like a gorgeously devastating film.
Yes.
Kind of the opposite of what we just watched,
Yeah.
in that it's like substance.
Yeah.
Milia and Me recommends Amulet from 2020. An ex-soldier is offered a place to stay at a decaying house inhabited by a young woman or dying mother, and he starts to fall for her. But I don't know, there might be a demon going on. They say this hasn't got good reviews. Folks have found it slow-paced and artsy, but they think it's beautiful. And so there you go.
Sold.
They're like, I love this movie.
Oh my God.
Everyone else hates it. Watch this. Here, taste this. Alien, Sinister. Sarah Kendall recommends Equinox from 1970. Four college kids go into the woods, ready for a spooky book. They found, oh my God, these spooky books.
Mm.
Which is a normal and safe thing to do for your weekend. Absolutely. And the film is made by an entirely amateur cast and crew, all teenagers in real life, and they punched up slightly by a studio for theatrical release. The original teenage director now has 9 Oscars for visual work, visual effects.
Interesting.
It's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Atheros recommends Eminence. A group of researchers rent a boat to head out into the Bermuda Triangle, seeking what they believe to be evidence of alien activity, only to be found they've been caught in a trap by the devil himself. Seems like a remote place to put a devil trap.
Okay.
And also Stitches from 2001. A demon disguises herself as an elderly woman in order to trick the residents of a boarding house into surrendering their souls so that she can prison them into paper dolls.
All right.
Library Tune seconds Lose, says it's a great movie. Never heard anybody talking about it. Volitant Spider recommends Legion from 2010. A group of survivors protect an infant savior during a biblical angels and demons apocalypse. I remember this movie. This movie is very action horror.
Yeah.
And also MMR recommends Right. Senior exorcist takes a young priest who doesn't believe under his wing. Seconds Fallen, Seconds Long Legs. And that's what we got, Jeffrey.
Huh. Well, I don't think anyone on Letterboxd sold me on their case. I will say Aramentari, Piemag's Aramentari suggestion
really
because it's
Aramentari.
Bosque, and I don't know anything about Bosque movies, and I don't think we've covered them. And also, Robert Baroness recommended Demon, which has a Dybbuk in it, which I don't think we've covered the Dybbuk yet.
It's kind of intriguing.
I think those are the two, I think those are the two like sales I really got.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think Cronenberg TA sold Baskin as far as like had to turn it off halfway through because that sells me on the scariness of the movie. So, but yeah, I'm sort of interested after watching Inferno. I am a little bit interested in watching a little bit more of a well put together film.
Yes.
And also something that is scary.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where I'm also curious about Lutz because German demon film sounds kind of cool.
Here's the thing. I think Sinister is the popular choice. One of the popular choices because it's pretty darn scary.
Yeah.
It is kind of tropey. Like, I'm not saying that is a good thing or a bad thing. It's very like, hey, you know what's scary? X, Y, and Z. And it leans hard into that. And Ethan Hawke does an amazing job. Like, he kind of lends an air of respectability to those tropes, but it's a little bit tried and true. Same thing about Devil. Like, it's a M. Night Shyamalan joint where it's like, okay, this movie's going to have like amazing dialogue and amazing characters, but it kind of has one twist. And the twist is, who's the devil?
Right.
That's what the movie's about.
Yeah.
I feel like we should watch something that neither of us have seen.
Okay.
So like Long Legs, I'm sure we'd have a fascinating conversation about unpacking Long Legs.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch something that we've not seen. I'm leaning toward Luz, Baskin, Ementari. I know you've seen Immaculate, but I think that like I can, because you've seen it and I haven't. I think those are the three that I'm most interested in.
Yeah, Baskin, Lutz, and Ementari are all foreign language films, I believe. I think Baskin is Turkish. I know it's a Turkish movie, but I think it's in Turkish.
Maybe I'm in an international mood right now. I don't know.
Let's see here.
And then Demon, and then also Demon, which because it's been so long since I've seen this movie, I remember liking the fuck out of it, and I mean it has been since 2015, so it's been 10 years since I've seen this.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, dude, because that gets into the whole Dybbuk thing, which we haven't really covered before.
Or do we go with the popular choice and watch Sinister, which we know is going to be like very popular on here, and we know it's going to be a rock and
solid
roll kind of ride. Yeah.
I'm so curious. I mean, I think Baskin or Demon might be a great way to go because yeah, Demon is Polish,
Yeah,
which I'm
we
really
haven't watched.
curious about.
You know what I think? I think we have enough to put it on. I think we can pull six and roll for it.
Okay, so Demon, Lutz, Baskin, Aramentari.
Hmm.
That's four.
Okay.
Sinister to just
Sinister.
do the straight up American.
Yeah.
We know it's rock solid
And then
sort
I
of
think we
thing.
should put another popular one on there.
Do you want to say either? Who else did we miss
I
from?
mean, Smile. See, here's the thing. I didn't like Smile. Shh, don't tell anybody. I thought it was super dumb. Shh, don't tell anyone. Like, I would rather watch Longlegs or Constantine over Smile. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Um.
Or Devil.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
Devil's a six. Is a
you
solid
would put
choice.
Devil. Devil is
Yeah,
a six. All
I
right.
would revisit that. I haven't seen since it was like came out, I think.
All right. So one is Demon, two is Lutz, three is Baskin, four is Aramentari, five is Sinister, and six is Devil. Do you want me to roll? Do you want to roll? I forget
I'll
whose
roll
turn
for
it
this
is.
one.
Do it.
That's a three.
We're gonna watch that Baskin.
Okay,
Let's watch
let's
Let's
do it.
watch Turkish horror. I'm very
Yeah,
excited.
bring it.
Okay, great. Wow. So much going on with that one. That was a very intense category, but I think we found a good one. Thank you guys for suggesting that. Hold on 2 seconds. Um,
Oh, this looks very demony.
and thank you, Cronenberg TA, for bringing that one to our attention. I'd forgotten about that movie. It looks, you make it sound real fucking scary. So
I'm
let's get
into it.
into something really fucking scary. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Cecil, for talking with me. If y'all have thoughts on Inferno or ideas for movies that would have been good, demonic meets one word title, let us know at Random Horror 9 on Instagram or our Patreon, where we have public discussion threads for each and every episode. And you don't got to be a paying member to participate and watch. What are we watching? And watch Baskin with us this week. And come on back next Tuesday for a new episode. Have a restful night with no hot dog vendors feeding you to the rats or nothing. Boo.
Boo.
Woof.
Oh, that was a long one.
That was our longest episode in a hot minute. All right. I was starting to make a list of movies that I was watching that horror movies that aren't part of this show that we haven't covered on the
Hmm.
show. Just because I was like, I want a better memory when I'm thinking through
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the lists of like, oh, I remember I watched this Mario Bava movie on Criterion.
Hmm.
What elements did it have for list
Oh, sure.
matching? Anyways, one thing I realize a few movies that I've watched that we've never done in style is just mystery thriller or
Okay.
procedural. Mystery or procedural.
Okay.
And I was realizing there's a lot of horror movies that are procedurals. I don't know if that
Oh,
overlaps with anything.
I'm into that.
Or I
For,
say like a
for
lot of horror
style.
movies.
Wait, okay, so for style. No, I think that's great. I like procedural. Like it's about doctors, police. I mean, Autopsy of Jane Doe would be a good procedural.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah. Let's see.
what is the primetime TV trifecta? Lawyers, doctors, um, EMT. No,
Lawyers,
cops.
doctors,
Yeah.
cops. Yeah. Inferno is
Procedural.
1980.
Procedural. Let's see, spell that word right.
Oof.
Procedural. Yeah.
All right, Baskin, 2015.
Okay, so
You know what
procedural as a style, as a scare. What have we got here?
Oh man.
Ghost. When was the last time we did like haunted ghost? Horror?
Um, let's see here. When did we last roll that? It
It's
was
back since Sixth Sense, actually.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah,
It's only
ghost
on for three
story.
weeks. Ghost,
Um,
Haunted. You have a preference?
hold on just a sec. No, we did it for Devil's Backbone. So that was 14 episodes ago.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So
whoops.
nice. We can still do it though.
Oh, Ghost Story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ghost
Okay.
story, yeah. Um,
Well, let's call it Haunted because that's slightly
haunted.
different wording, but it kind of
Yeah,
means
yeah,
the same
yeah. I
thing.
like it. Haunted. Um, cool. Haunted procedural.
I know. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is gonna be like an interesting search term. I'm
That
like,
is going to be interesting.
I mean,
Uh,
unfortunately, we kind of killed demonic, which gives us the devil's advocate,
right. Yeah.
which gives us angel heart because it's about a private detective working for the devil.
Right, right. That's interesting. It's got to be procedural ghost thing though.
Like ghost lawyer, ghost doctor. Oh, flatliners.
Oh yeah, totally.
Sure,
Totes,
I'll put
totes.
that in
Yeah,
there.
there's got to be something in there.
Yeah,
Ghostbusters, Ghost Hunters. Like that's yeah.
sure, ghost. Oh,
Ghost,
yeah,
Ghost
yeah.
Cop. Yeah,
I mean, procedural. Even making a TV show is a procedural, right?
yeah.
So, like, I mean, I love